but I think
Only MLB.com takes you straight from the ballpark to your
I had 3 tracks on this.
The game's never over when you log on to MLB.com.
I hate this stuff.
Major League Baseball games online. Watch and listen to live games with MLB.tv and MLB.com Game Day Audio. Follow stats.
All right, coming down in 3, 2, 1.
No, you don't know the whole story about it. Dylan's all furious because he was working on getting him for tomorrow's show.
Staying Hot with Seth and Bone.
I'm like, dude,
Seth
tell
Everett,
us.
Darryl Hamilton by Mark Kotsay of the Oakland A's. And Mark, first of all, there's so much talk about the A's and their offense.
I know.
You guys decided that this club can generate runs with the best of them, and this team has the ability to score runs when they need to support the pitching staff?
Well, I think, obviously our offensive struggles were a bit magnified in May. We were out of, with Crosby being injured, a couple other guys out of the lineup. So, as everybody knows, hitting is contagious.
If I had time, I have that. I just didn't have time to do it.
Well, it kind of feeds through the whole lineup. So, we've been swinging the bats late of what are good. Holy fucking shit! Are you kidding me?
You just made me have to edit this.
Yeah, let's start over.
On the Diamondbacks, Royce Clayton. What was your impression of everything that took place?
Okay, hold on. He's about to do it.
Your ordinary regular season game.
Let's do it again.
Want to start over the whole thing? Start the whole thing. Coming down in 3, 2, 1. Back here, staying hot with Seth and Bone, MLB Radio. Seth Everett, Darryl Hamilton, joined by Mark Kotsay of the Oakland A's. Mark,
The president under that jacket, was he wearing a Staying Hot T-shirt? Because you know how Darryl likes to peddle the merchandise. You could just imagine that President Bush was just
all right, coming down in
wearing that
3,
Staying Hot shirt throughout the afternoon.
2.
Okay, it's there.
The whole thing? Start the whole thing. Coming down in 3, 2, 1.
Tune in to Staying Hot weekdays from 3 until 6 in the evening Eastern Time. This is MLB Radio.
Hey MLB fans, only MLB.com takes you straight from the ballpark to your computer. The game's never over when you log on to MLB.com. Your destination for live Major League Baseball games online. Watch and listen to live games with MLB.tv and MLB.com Game Day Audio. Follow Stats Live with the unique real-time feature MLB.com Game Day. For fans who just can't get enough of the game, MLB.com, the #1 site for Major League Baseball fans, where baseball is always on.
Email us, radio@MLB.com. AOL Instant Message us, MLB Radio Live. Call us, 1-800-431-0734. 3 ways to voice your opinion. This is MLB Radio.
All right, back here, staying hot with Seth and Bone, 1-800-431-0734, radio at MLB.com or MLB Radio Live. Mark Kotsay in just a couple of seconds right here on MLB Radio. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton. We've got bottom of the hour coming up, the A's and Mariners, Hambone, and one of the things that you have to always look at with regard to the way things go here at this ballpark. They have a huge fan base and a huge fan support. And the neat thing about what you've noticed is, even though the attendance has sagged just a bit, the bottom line is still, with a place like this, you haven't had apathy set in. And that, to me, that's the biggest thing you had to worry about.
And that's the most important thing they did this offseason by signing a couple players to come in and kind of wake everyone up. Because I think when you get a new ballpark, it's very easy to sit back and say, okay, we don't have to put a top-notch ball club on the field because the ballpark can sell itself. And I think that's good for probably the first couple years. But after that, the fans are going to get tired of just coming to the ballpark and watching the team lose. So you always have to restock, kind of do things over again. And from this point, I think they're getting there because, Richie Sexton, I think, coming in and Beltre coming in, doing what they're expected to do, and that's helped this team win ball games. I think it's going to come. You got to give them a little time, but I think the start of something good here in the Northwest is getting there.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about with regard to, and by the way, that's that train whistle in the background.
Is it really?
That's one of the other things that we always say.
There you go again.
That's me when the steam comes out of my ears.
No, that's you. Everyone knows that you're back in the Great Northwest.
That's right.
So they're getting ready.
That's right.
Stay hot.
Jason in St. Louis writes us and says, We continue here. Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but since it's Thursday and the Texas Longhorns had a nice win against Baylor in the College World Series, I will defend Seth today. Buster Olney and Ken Rosenthal brought up the Jason Schmidt trade rumor to Baltimore over a week ago on a morning TV show.
Oh, so you stole it.
I didn't steal nothing.
It's okay, dude. It's Thursday. It's cool. It's all right.
Well, and that's part of it. But the fact is that, you just have to realize that maybe these kinds of things just make sense. It just makes logical sense.
Well, I mean, it's on the surface, it's not a bad deal there. It's not a bad talk about a trade because, you're right. I think the Giants have to make a decision soon on what they're going to do. If they're going to, kind of wait on Barry to see if he gets back and make a run, or so they try to rebuild. But you look at the makeup of their ball club with a lot of veterans, and I think they didn't do this just for 1 year. I thought they went into this thing thinking 2-year terms of making a run, and it didn't work out this first year. There's no doubt about that, but I think they still have another year with Barry coming back. I doubt if they give up or sell the farm to stock up for the future.
Brian writes us and says, Seth, I'm putting you in the black book, big guy. The next time you trade away my pitching ace, you want to give me a heads up? Don't make me come over there. Incidentally, what is it the Orioles are going to give me for Jason? Ponson again or Sammy Sosa? You better not try and make a trip out to his house. I'll kick you right in the badonkadonk. Signed, Brian Sabian.
Dang.
P.S. Nice job on the blog, D. How about sending some of those baby doll tees out this way? I'll show you some love.
Oh, right on. Finally. Getting some love from the West Coast.
Steven writes and says, do you think Ichiro deserves to start in the All-Star game? Steven from Manalapan, New Jersey.
And see, that's kind of getting into that territory where I was saying, you shouldn't get guys on the All-Star game for what they've done in the past. It should be for what they've done this season. But Ichiro, it might be an exception because Ichiro is a rock star. There's no doubt about it. And how many times have you heard a guy complaining hitting 298? It doesn't happen. I mean, most guys would love to be anywhere close to that.
Well, he's come around much recently. This is a guy who perennially hits 330, 340, and
that's low for him, dude. More 380, 390. Let's get it right.
Rick in Chi-Town says, Bone, if I order a baby doll tee, does it come with one of those staying hot girls? Because my wife is effing him insane. Peace be with you.
I'm not going to touch that. And, that's not it either. I've got what? We got 4 more photos to get ready to put on the site? I think it's 3 or 4. But I'm not done yet. We're going to see what we can do out in Seattle.
After the game.
Of course.
Or during the game.
Maybe.
It might have to be.
Why not?
Nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
All right, earlier today we caught up with Mark Kotze of the Oakland A's. Now, there's been all kinds of trade rumors. There's all kinds of trade rumors involving the center fielder. We heard reports that the Yankees had expressed interest. Let's hear our conversation earlier today with Mark Kotze. Back here staying hot with Seth and Bone, MLB Radio. Seth Everett, Darryl Hamilton, joined by Mark Kotze of the Oakland A's. Mark, first of all, thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I'd like to get that first one out in the open. The funny thing about the A's is a lot's been talked about their offense. So many people talk about the people who aren't here, but the guys who are here in this clubhouse. Can this team score runs when it needs to?
I think we can. Obviously, we haven't given Barry Zito a lot of run support this year. We've had some key guys out of the lineup, and hitting is contagious. Hopefully we can get on a roll. We've been swinging the bats better of late, and hopefully we can continue that trend throughout the end of the season.
And when they struggle offensively to score runs, defense becomes a major part. And a lot of people don't know that you're a guy who has not won a Gold Glove, but has always been in the running. I guess being on the left coast, a lot of people in the media market, so to speak, don't get a chance to see how good an outfielder you are.
Well, I mean, that's somewhat true. We do get a chance to play against everybody, but you'll know as well as I do that you could go in and have a bad series in New York for 3 games, and then that impression is left upon that New York coaching staff, and you're not going to get those votes that you might need, when it comes down to Gold Glove voting. I've always said that I'm not a player that's going to thrill you in a 3-game series necessarily, but over 162 games at the end of the season, if you've seen me every day, day in and day out, you'll respect what I go out and do for the ball club.
And there's been so much talk about how you can help a ball club, and there's been a lot of people inquiring about you. When you hear about those kinds of rumblings about teams asking about you, you take that as a compliment, or is that just a distraction?
No, I think it's a compliment. Obviously, you're always, wanting to be wanted, I guess, in your services. And, at the same point, once you started a family, those type of things they can become distractions because outside circumstances get involved. And, mainly the main focus is just trying to play baseball and staying focused on that.
But I guess this time of the year, when the team is struggling, there's always talk about trades. The deadline is coming up. I mean, it's got to be a little bit distracting, a little frustrating because, I know you want to stay here with the A's. I know you want to do well here, but the fact that they're talking about you in New York, it's got to be positives.
Well, it's definitely positives, but, I think it's just a lot of speculation. I mean, Peter Gammons brings it out in the air, and now it's, nationwide. And, I mean, obviously, I'd love to be here with the A's. And I think that this ball club has the opportunity, although we're young, to be successful. And, guys like Danny Herron, a young pitcher named Rich Harden, who's got Cy Young stuff. So there's definitely guys in this clubhouse that can lead this team back to the top of this division, whether it be this year or next, who's to say.
Is it interesting to see how this team has evolved now since the big moves of the offseason? No, Hudson's not here, Mulder's not here, and that's a lot of the talk. It's who's not here as opposed to who is here. You've got some youngsters, and for all the people who talk about Barry Zito as a veteran, already has a Cy Young, he's still a young guy too.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's got 5 or 6 years in, and it's obvious that a lot of people see him as a veteran pitcher on the staff because of the age difference, or I should say experience difference between him and a guy like Rich Harden or a guy like Danny Herron. These guys are still learning how to pitch. They're going to be great. And, as far as it goes, our ball club, a lot of it relies on their shoulders because we've haven't done well offensively, but we're doing better offensively of late, and hopefully we can continue that trend.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
There you have it. That is Mark Kotsay of the Oakland A's. It'd be very strange to see if the A's decide to go the trade route. There's been all kinds of rumors. There's been talk about Kotsay. There's been talk about Zito. There's been a lot of inquiries from a lot of different organizations. I'm not ready to say for the Oakland A's whether or not trading these guys to stockpile youngsters. To me, if you're trading a Mark Kotsay, you're getting a pitcher in return and you're getting somebody on the major league roster.
It would make sense. I mean, and from the Yankees' point of view, what do they have to trade? I mean, you can always say the Yankees can work deals with anybody, but now it's not about money. It's about bringing in some players that can help out a ball club right away. And I don't see at this point the Yankees have anybody that would help any ball club as far as trying to attract a big-time player.
Valerie writes us at radio@MLB.com. Aloha, Seth and Bone. Since it's Porn Thursday, 2 things. First, my husband was homesick the other day and heard your show. He said it was a sexist show. Oh, yeah, the baseball talk's not bad, too.
Okay.
Second, with all this talk about the baby doll T-shirt photos, remember that there are female listeners, too. How about some sexy pics of the male gender? But the baby dolls are designed for women.
We'll put a baby doll on Seth. How about that?
P.S. Easy on the Yanks. It ain't over until it's over. I know it's easy to stay hot in Seattle.
Very true.
Ain't that the truth?
It's got a long way to go. I mean, I'm not selling the farm and saying that the Yankees are done. I've always said that I still think they're going to get in the playoffs. I still think they're going to make a run. I believe that's a team that's built for the playoffs, and once they get there, the only problem you get now that there's some teams that can go into Yankee Stadium and beat them, I think their invincibility is gone. I think, for the most part, thinking that the Yankees are a team that for sure going to get to the World Series, I think it's questionable right now. They'll get to the playoffs, but teams are going to feel like they have a chance of beating them.
Right. Mike writes us and says, hey, guys, quick question. Since the broadcast of the game is exclusive to MLB TV, no local TV, can we fans in Oakland view the game, or is it still blacked out? Actually, Mike, I asked the crack staff back at the shop, and yes, local blackout restrictions still apply with regard to MLB TV. It's because the local rights holder, which in this case for the A's is Fox, they still own the rights. They could have broadcast this game if they wanted. The reason why we are broadcasting the game is because they selected not to. So that's the rights issue. So still the local blackout rule applies.
Sorry.
And that's your one to grow on. 1-800-431-0734, radio at MLB.com, or MLB Radio Live. The Twins beat the Tigers today 6-2. That's already a final. That game was called by Vinny Micucci and Mike Ciano in an MLB TV exclusive. The Twins scored 4 runs in the first after a bases-loaded wild pitch, beat the Tigers 6-2. Carlos Silva, 9 strong innings for his second complete game of the season, held the Tigers to 2 runs on 9 hits, no walks.
Right on.
That's right.
Right on. They called the game. What do you want me to say? No, it's about time for Minnesota to start picking it up a little bit because, they're running out of time. And I know we still have a ways to go, but mentally wise, I mean, they've got to get things going because White Sox are not going to slow down. I don't think they will. I mean, I think that's a team that's going to be around for the duration. And the only way to catch them is to let them know that you're going to be around and not lagging until that great big run you can make.
Real quick, since it is staying hot, I do have to ask you, who do you like tonight? Don't say the Devil Rays.
I like Detroit.
Really?
I like Detroit. I think what they did the other night kind of woke them up and let San Antonio know that it's not going to be. There's not going to be a parade today. Because that's always a kiss of death when you start talking about when the parade is going to be. And I know they had that as bulletin board material, and I know they had it in the clubhouse.
Right.
Saying that they're scheduled to have a parade on Thursday. Well, it's not going to happen.
Ray in Calgary says, Porn Thursday in Seattle. Can't get better than that. Bone, go check out that football stadium. It's as nice as the ball field. That's why I go every year to Seattle for my road trips. Seth, is Seattle the place you lost Supergirl 1? And have you torched Subway yet?
That could happen.
Bone, are those staying hot ladies wouldn't be from Intercourse, Pennsylvania, would they? I'll be dreaming about them when I'm passing through Climax, Saskatchewan this weekend. Where is Climax, you ask? Straight south of Big R and southwest of Addy Lake. Check out a map. Who says that life is boring on the prairies?
Oh, yeah, I knew where that was.
You didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
That could have been Italian for all you know.
Could have been. You're right.
Jay in Brooklyn writes, hey, guys, is it true that Mets are in the market for Lyle Overbay or Todd Helton? We've heard both those names. What are they giving up? What is in it for the Rockies?
Nothing. Absolutely
it's
nothing.
It's their only marketing draw.
Yeah.
And as far as Lyle Overbay, same thing applies.
Yeah, I can't see that happening. I mean, Overbay, I think, will eventually be out there. Prince Fielder will probably be the future of the Milwaukee Brewers. But, I mean, at this point, there's no use in giving up Overbay and saying, okay, let's go primarily with young guys from the Brewers' point of view. I mean, if that's a can't-miss deal to where the Brewers get starting pitching of some sort or some fashion, sure, go for it. That'll work. But I don't see that happening right now.
Radio at MLB.com. Frank writes us from Torrington, Connecticut. How long will the Dodgers stick with Choi at first base, who has great streaks but does not really contribute to the Dodgers winning on a daily basis? Will we see Joel Guzman at first base possibly? Is Jose Valentin coming back this year, or is it time to pull out all the stops and give Norihiro Nakamura a second chance? There are holes despite the injuries. What are the Dodgers going to do about them? Write off the season and give young guys a chance, or wait for players to come off the DL?
Well, they're not going to write off the season yet. I mean, I still believe that they feel that they can make a run. It's going to be extremely difficult without Gagne. There's no doubt about that. But I think they are not going to cash in yet. They're going to probably wait until at least another 2-3 weeks before they make a decision on what direction they're going to go into.
Well, and the other thing, Gary in Baltimore writes and says, do you think with all the injuries the Orioles have, including Mora, will they still be in the pennant race in September? And I heard a recent interview with general manager Jim Beattie. He is very skeptical about trading to improve the team. What is your take on that? The Orioles are in one of those positions where they have, at this stage of the game, and they know it, they have overachieved.
Sure.
They know it. They also have to realize that the possibility remains high that this team may be able to take advantage of a Red Sox problem, a Yankee problem, and the fact that Toronto doesn't necessarily have the horses to keep up. So the fact of the matter is that you might have to change your philosophy, and for Jim Beattie to say that now, and for Jim Beattie to say the same thing in mid-July, that's very different.
I guess this is why they make the big bucks. I mean, because you got to make a lot of decisions that not only is going to affect your team this year, but from years to come. And I don't know when you decide to say, look, let's go for it this year. We're going to make a serious run. Whatever happens after this, so be it. But what I would hate to do if I were a general manager is to sit back maybe 2-3 years from now and say, man, I wish I would have made that deal. Could have got us to the next level. Because I know, there are a lot of general managers and probably a lot of former general managers who sit back now and say, man, I wish I would have done that. Or, for the most part, who say, I shouldn't have done that. I gave up the entire farm system and for nothing, for taking a chance. So it's a crapshoot right now.
The San Diego Padres were in the news today, giving Bruce Bochy, actually yesterday, a 2-year contract extension, takes him through 2007. He's managed the Padres to 2 of their 3 playoff trips in 1996 and 1998. His 98 team, of course, went to the World Series. Coming up here on Staying Hot with Seth and Bone, we'll have the play-by-play, a simulcast of MLB TV's coverage of the A's and Mariners. But first, the baseball brunch fellas, Brian McRae and Billy Sample, had a chance to talk to Bruce Bochy about signing that contract extension and staying in San Diego. Let's listen in.
Bruce, welcome. Brian McRae and Billy Sample along with you. Thanks for your time.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Taking it off.
I got to call Danny real quick. That's what I would suggest, just calling it. Or what about check the other booth? Isn't it TV booth? Have a seat, brother. I want to say how to do this. Okay, how'd it go? Okay, the fuck up was with the stupid this many just with the groups and the pro fucking killing me. Mark Kotze swore in the middle of the interview. So I think if we had let it run, we would have been fine, but I wasn't sure because I couldn't see the numbers. And I said, I ain't taking a chance of him saying motherfucker. Yeah, he cut off his answer and he just goes, motherfucker, what the hell am I talking about? And we just started cracking up. I have the tape for you. I'll send it to you. It's really funny. Anyway, I just got to show Kevin how to do these breaks, so what's up? Yeah, we're running the breaks from here. I'm showing him how to do it. He's going to be online invisible as me, so if there's something you need to tell him, you know what I mean? But we should be fine. Totally should be fine. Well, this is what I was going to say. Is there any way you or Craig or somebody could just give me the go? You want to give me a go, like when it all matches up? I don't. Okay, 30, done. Done. Okay, cool. If you need anything, IM me, and we should be good. Okay, see ya. Yep, bye. All right, these 8 breaks are in the they're 90 seconds each. Your phone. 90 seconds each. You load one in. The only thing you need to have open, these 3 are just so that this is the board op. That's my producer, and that's the guy who runs the TV. If these guys need anything, they shouldn't. You're logged on, but invisible, so no one else is going to talk to you. Basically, it's just a matter of you can take these off a playlist by right-clicking, remove from list. You take Spring Training Break 4 and put it in. But that doesn't play it. And then when I, at the end of a half inning, just go, hey, here, you just go. And that's basically all it is. But just vary them up. Found it? Let me just get the level. Duh.
Absolutely. Required for hard-nosed team baseball, you betcha. You see Chicago White Sox players, coaches,
They're all,
front office, hot dog vendors,
for
parking lot
audio.
attendants,
So
and
the
especially
levels, once you
fans
set the
hate
levels
losing.
once,
You
you're
know what
good.
I'm talking about.
And we're good.
About the kind of hate.
So it's literally take that out, remove from list, take the next one in, put it in, play.
Did you ever want to know more about?
And the out cue is going to be that you're watching MLB TV or some bullshit. Yeah, the way this feed comes out, they're going to do scoreboard pan-arounds and run these breaks. And that's how it goes. Yeah, just any one of them, as long as just varying it up. And starting in like the fourth inning, we're gonna get an email or something during the break, but we'll worry about that later. And we start at 4:30 on the nose. Yeah. Oh yeah. This doesn't work. That's the pot for this. Nope. This.
So it's on.
It's on. It's all set. You just have to play it. Hello? Hello? What? Oh, okay. Live from Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington, MLB.TV presents an exclusive broadcast of today's Major League Baseball game between the Oakland A's and the Seattle Mariners. Welcome, everybody, to Safeco Field for the finale of the four-game set after the Mariners come from behind extra inning victory over the A's last night. Gets them their first game in this four-game series, and they will look for the split today against the Oakland A's. On the mound for the Seattle Mariners will be Ryan Franklin. He'll be opposed by Kirk Saarloos. And as we welcome you, I'm Seth Everett, joined by Darryl Hamilton, normally heard on this airwave on Staying Hot with Seth and Bone. But Darryl, we today take a look at the Mariners and A's and what has been normally an AL West rivalry. Both teams kind of have dropped off a notch, and that, to me, keeps this rivalry interesting because these two teams want to battle each other and still stay in this American League West race.
Well, they're not far apart right now because these two teams in the past have been the dominant forces in the American League West, and it hadn't worked out for them this year. Both are at the bottom of the division, but I think the future looks bright for both teams. I think Oakland has a solid foundation as far as their pitching is concerned. You look at Seattle, the position players that they've gotten in the offseason helps out a whole bit, but pitching is always going to be the most important factor when you're talking about winning a division, and it's no exception this year.
And the last night's game, the biggest key for this game was the bullpen being able to give them extended innings. Ron Vallone was brilliant. Guardado was solid. And at the same time, it was a combination of the veterans for Seattle that have contributed for this team. Sure, Sexton gets the game-winning RBI. Sexton was the guy who had the home run earlier in the game. But what a key base hit by the youngster Mike Morse, who helps at shortstop to get this rally going and actually save them in the ninth.
Well, when you make the big money like Sexton is making, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure involved with that. Not on the first or the 15th. Those days are pretty good for him. But for the most part, when a team loses and you're not playing as well as I guess they're capable of playing, a lot of fans are going to put a lot of pressure on you and say you're not doing your job. Sexton has hit some key double plays in this series that has kind of forced his team to take a loss. Last night he came through big for him, and I guess they've been waiting for that for a long time, and hopefully it's a start for something positive for the Mariners.
And the interesting thing about last night's ball game, you saw, and we'll give you the starting lineups in just a second, you saw Jamie Moyer continue to dazzle them. I mean, Jamie Moyer seems to be the ageless wonder. Now they go to the back end of that rotation. You see a guy like a Gil Mesh and today's starter, a Ryan Franklin, hoping to get quality starts and quality innings for Brian Price, the pitching coach, and, of course, Mike Hargrove at the helm, his first year with Seattle.
Well, you know, if I'm a pitcher with the Seattle Mariners, I am watching Jamie Moyer like nobody's business. I mean, he knows what he's doing out there. He is a pitcher, and there's a huge difference between a pitcher and a thrower. Here's a guy who's not going to go out there and wow you with the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He's going to break his corners off. He's going to throw off-speed pitches. He's going to keep you off balance and keep you guessing. And from a hitter's point of view, that's the most difficult pitcher to face.
Let's give you the starting lineups. First for the visitors, the Oakland A's, as they will be wrapping up this series and then head back to Oakland for a 3-game interleague series. The interleague finale this weekend against their Bay Area rival, the Giants. So they are looking to take 3 of 4 in this series. Leading off, the center fielder, Mark Kotsay. Batting second and catching will be Jason Kendall. The third baseman, Eric Chavez, hits third. Scott Hatteberg, the cleanup hitter, he is the designated hitter. Bobby Kelty is in left, batting fifth. Dan Johnson's at first, batting sixth. Mark Ellis, seventh. He is at second base. And the right fielder, Nick Swisher, is the right fielder, batting eighth. And the shortstop, batting ninth, is Marco Scutaro. For the Seattle Mariners, leading off and playing right field, the former American League MVP, Ichiro Suzuki, is here, batting under 300, which is kind of something that looks a little strange with his 298 average.
How can you be upset hitting under 300? I mean, 298. Come on, Ichiro. Give me a break.
Needs to get back in the cage or something.
He's slumping bad.
Randy Wynn bats second and plays left. Former Los Angeles Dodger Adrian Beltre is at third, batting third. Richie Sexton, the hero from last night's game, is the first baseman, and he'll hit cleanup. Raul Ibanez, the designated hitter, is batting fifth. Brett Boone, back in the lineup yesterday after missing 4 games. More on that as the broadcast goes on. Brett Boone is batting sixth. Jeremy Reed is playing center field and batting seventh. Mike Morse, the shortstop, the youngster, the rookie, bats eighth and plays shortstop. And the catcher, you had a chance to talk to him before the game, Pat Borders, back with Seattle for another tour of duty. I mean, they had injuries to Dan Wilson. This is a team that finds this guy again. He was playing in the minor leagues at his age.
One of my favorite guys in baseball all time, Pat Borders. We played together in winter ball one year and became good friends from then on. And I tell you, it's amazing. Guy's 42. I mean, watching him down in the clubhouse, first of all, he's in great shape. And obviously, when you're a catcher at 42, you have to be in good shape. But he looks like a 20-year-old. And it's amazing that he's come in here and really solidified his catching duties because they're a little lost with injuries. I mean, you hope that you can find a guy behind the plate that can not only go to the plate and give you some big hits when you need it, but can basically take over that pitching rotation and let those guys know what it takes to be successful in this league, and he's done that so far.
And a guy who has been with this ball club in the past, but when the Freddie Garcia trade brings Olivo, you suddenly see the need to not have Pat Borders in the fold. So he catches on. He's playing in AAA. The injuries come down for the Seattle Mariners, and there's Pat Borders in there catching today.
Well, I think he's a little surprised that he's been in there so much. When he came up, when he got the call up, he thought he was going to be a guy who played once, maybe twice a week. But with the injuries, like you said, he's pretty much in there every day. And I know he's a little tired right now, but he's still going out there and doing his job.
Ryan Franklin is on the mound as the Mariners have taken the field. We'll give you the numbers on Ryan Franklin, 3-8 with a 4.66 ERA. Taking his warm-up tosses for Seattle. Now, the interesting thing about Ryan Franklin, at home, he is just 1-4 in 2005 with a 4.81 ERA. This is his 7th start here at Safeco Field this season. Defensively for the Mariners, Richie Sexson is at first. Brett Boone back in there at second base. Mike Morse, as we mentioned, the shortstop. Adrian Beltre over at third. The outfield from left to right. Randy Wynn in left. Jeremy Reed is in center. Ichiro is in right field. And behind the plate, the aforementioned Pat Borders. And on the mound, Ryan Franklin. And Franklin has been in this rotation for a number of years now. Can't really be called he's still a youngster,
Sure.
but he's not necessarily a rookie, and they're looking for results from him.
Well, they expect him to pitch a lot better than what he's been doing so far. But here's a guy who can throw a lot of pitches and a lot of at-bats. He can change it up for you. He has good fastball, good off-speed pitches. But the one thing you don't want to get into, especially with a young starting pitcher, is to kind of repeat yourself. Get out there and throw a couple fastballs, then an off-speed pitch and a fastball. It comes a lot easier for a hitter to go out there and swing the bat on you. So he's got to change up some pitches. He's got to hit some spots. He's got to keep guys guessing. If you can do that, then you got a good chance of winning.
He was in the bullpen when the team left spring training in Peoria, Arizona. Bobby Madrich had gotten a rotation spot, but when he had the season-ending injury, Franklin was back in the rotation, and as we mentioned, he has struggled this season at just 3-8. Leading off for the Oakland A's and stepping in and batting left-handed will be Mark Kotsay, a 277 hitter, 5 home runs, 37 RBIs. And the first pitch from Franklin is sliced foul down the left side.
And I guess if you got a camera, you might want to take a picture of this. Kotsay in an Oakland A's uniform. Could be soon. Who knows?
There have been rumors regarding Mark Kotsay. Not necessarily that the A's are shopping him, but that a lot of teams have been inquiring about him. One published report had him going to the New York Yankees.
Well, that's the disadvantage of when you're playing well on a team that's not doing so well. You know, they always suspect that you're going to end up somewhere else. And, you know, he's played well for the A's. And I know he's comfortable playing here in Oakland. But if the opportunity comes and you get a chance to play for a team that's going to the playoffs, you got to jump at that.
Pitch was sliced foul, so it's no balls and 2 strikes to Kotsay. Borders lays down the sign, and Franklin deals the 0-2, and it misses inside 1-2. Picture perfect day here in Seattle. Temperature in the low 70s. Wind blowing toward right field.
I feel like I'm with the mayor of Seattle today. Everybody was saying Seth Everett is back.
The 1-2 is sliced past Morse at short into left field, and a leadoff single for Kotsay and the A's.
Well, it's the one thing you don't want to do as far as starting off the game. Ryan Franklin throwing an off-speed pitch away. Kind of slapped it into left field, but you can't do too much with that pitch. You just hope you try to get a bat on the ball and get into the outfield.
But the one thing you didn't see me do earlier, hello, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for coming.
I'll do that in Houston. Hello. Thanks for coming.
I'll be right back. Here's Kendall now, 255. No home runs, 17 RBIs for the former Pittsburgh Pirates. Kotsay leads off first, Franklin deals, and the pitch high for ball 1.
And, you know, when we got in here, we were talking to some of the players with the Mariners, and they were a little surprised to the fact that Oakland came in and started doing things they hadn't done all year. That's getting on base, stealing bases, taking the extra base when it's given to you. I think when you're losing, you try anything you can to kind of get yourself out of it.
Runner leads off first, and the pitch in there at the knees for a strike.
You know, Jason Kendall is a guy who's going to come to the plate, not hit a lot of home runs from the catcher's spot, but he's going to put the ball in play. He's a great hit and run guy. He'll hit behind the runner. He'll move the runner up. He'll bunt if he has to. And I think that's a good option for a catcher, not necessarily have a power guy in there.
Throw over to first base. One of the big things the A's were looking for from Kendall was production out of the catcher's position. Remember, the A's in their glory years are in the early part of this decade with Ramon Hernandez catching. And don't forget, that was a team still built on pitching.
Yeah.
The 1-1 pitch hits him on the inside part of the elbow there. Kendall trots over to first base, and quickly now the A's have first and second. Did Kendall even flinch there?
Well, he's not going to give up the plate. And when you throw inside, he's one of those rare players that's not afraid to get hit. And he's got a little bit of Craig Biggio in him. You know, you throw inside on him, he's going to stick that shoulder in, take the base. Now it's first and second, nobody out, so they're in a pretty good scoring situation.
That'll bring up Chavez, of course, the lefty coming in to face Franklin. 256 for Eric Chavez, leading the team in home runs with 11, 40 RBIs.
This is a guy they have to get going if they're talking about winning some games.
The first pitch to Chavez is inside for ball one.
You know, he started off so slow. He's starting to pick it up a little bit, but for the most part, the only way the A's are going to be successful any year if they get Chavez up there and start driving the ball out of the ballpark.
Runners lead off first and second. We're just getting started. First inning, no score. A's and Mariners from Safeco Field, and Chavez skies this one to center. Coming on is Reed. He makes the catch, and we have our first out of the inning.
Well, we talk about Ryan Franklin having to change up some pitches, going to throw some change up if possible. Kind of got him off balance throwing a change up in that situation. On his front foot, popped it up to center field. The runners cannot advance, so it's kind of a double whammy right there.
Here comes Scott Hatteberg now, the designated hitter this afternoon. 275 for Hatteberg. 4 homers, 25 RBIs.
And when I'm talking about a double whammy, I mean, it's bad enough when you pop up, but if you can't advance the runners, try to get them in scoring position with second and third and one out, that makes it even tougher to score runs.
First pitch to Hatteberg is in there for a called strike. A's come into today's play in last place in the American League West, 31-40 on the campaign. 11 games off the pace. Seattle comes in at 32-38, 9.5 off the pace. The 0-1 from Franklin is bounced toward third. Picked up nicely by Beltre. He throws over to Boone for one, and in time for the double play. Nice play by the Seattle Mariners, and they get out of the inning. So first and second, nobody out, and the Oakland A's do not come up with a run. We have played a half inning of play here in Seattle. It's the A's nothing, the Mariners coming up. You're watching MLB.TV.
I'm Derek Jeter. When I was growing up, my parents and I would go to the schoolyard every weekend and play ball. They'd teach me how if I practiced and didn't give up, my swing could get better. That if I got in front of the ball and wasn't afraid, I could stop it. But there weren't any shortcuts to becoming a better player. But if I believed in myself, I could do it.
Cool.
Funny, all that time, I thought they were teaching me how to play baseball.
Helping your kids find a dream can help keep them off drugs. Brought to you by Partnership for a Drug-Free America. Visit us at drugfreeamerica.org.
Hey fans, balloting has begun for the 2005 Midsummer Classic in Detroit, and it's all online at MLB.com. Vote early and vote often for your hometown heroes or favorite superstars. It's up to you. Be the manager and cast your all-star ballot up to 25 times from the comfort of your living room. Log on to MLB.com and cast your ballot today. And listen to exclusive online coverage of All-Star Weekend on MLB Radio, starting July 8th, live from Comerica Park. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
Boys and Girls Clubs, Major League Baseball charities, and Dontrell Willis on...
Pay attention, guys. This is key. Now step and then kick your leg up real high. Who's next? Both of you guys can do it at the same time. You got gloves? You want to use my glove?
He can use mine.
See, that's a great teammate right there. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Everyone has to have mean faces. Mean faces. What's everyone smiling about?
Boys and Girls Clubs and Major League Baseball. Together they create a positive place for kids.
Back here in Safeco Field, Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton. MLB.TV's coverage of Major League Baseball as the Seattle Mariners will go to the bottom of the first inning and send up Ichiro Suzuki, Randy Wynn, and Adrian Beltre.
The slumping Ichiro Suzuki. Are you kidding me?
The numbers on Ichiro, 298, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs, and the first pitch is outside for ball one. Defensively for the A's, Dan Johnson over at first base, Mark Ellis at second, Marco Scutero at short, Eric Chavez over at third. As the pitch is fouled off to the Mariner dugout, 1 ball and 1 strike. The outfield from left to right, Bobby Kelty, Mark Kotsay, and Nick Swisher. Jason Kendall is on the mound, and Kirk Sarloos getting the start for the Oakland A's. Came up in the Houston system, and he deals the 1-1 to Ichiro and misses with ball 2.
I think the one thing you have to do with Ichiro is try to be aggressive inside, kind of force him to pull the ball. If you can do that, you might be successful.
And that ball is sliced down the left field line, foul. Would have expected a better attempt by the ball girl out there.
The ball girl. Why are you being so hard on the ball girl? I'd like to see you in that play. Speaking of ball girls.
The 2-2 pitch misses outside, and the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Ichiro has such great plate coverage. I mean, you almost have to force him to pull the ball because anything middle away, he's going to take you the other way and drive the ball out of the park, believe it or not.
That ball is bounced towards short, picked up by Scutero, and the throw is in time, 1 down.
You know, the one thing when you get a fast run at the plate, puts a lot of pressure on the infield because you know when you get the ball, you got to get rid of it fast. And Ichiro showed right there getting thrown out by only a half a step.
Want to welcome our listeners who are listening to the program on MLB Radio. Normally you hear us doing a little talk show we like to call Staying Hot with Seth and Bone. But a MLB TV exclusive brings us to Seattle as Randy Wynn steps in. Pitch from Sarloos is low for ball 1. Wynn's numbers, 288, 2 home runs, 21 RBIs. Playing left field for the Mariners this afternoon. The 1-0 pitch misses again low, 2-0.
Randy Wynn is a guy who really I hadn't heard too much about trade possibilities this year. I mean, every year, with the exception of probably this one, they talked about trading him.
The 2-0 to Wynn is inside, and it hit him.
Well, maybe that's why.
That's the second hit by pitch so far today.
Stay hot.
And we're only in the first inning. In the top of the first, Kendall was hit. Ironically, the second guy to come to bat in the inning.
Old Tony La Russa theory. You hit the guy in the same lineup, same batting order. Maybe that was what they were doing. I doubt it, but it sounds good.
Runner goes. Beltre squares. The throw across is in time. Nice throw by Jason Kendall, and Randy Wynn is caught stealing.
It was a good throw. He got a good pitch to handle, fastball. It kind of looked upstairs, but I don't know if he got him. That's a pretty good throw, but looked like he slid in there, was safe. What do I know?
Now Beltre comes in with an 0-1 count and nobody on. We have 2 outs here in the bottom of the first.
You know, you always scratch your head when you got a power guy at the plate. You've got a guy on first base. Beltre could probably put them up 2 runs but get a good pitch to hit. Why do you steal in that situation? It's easy to say when he's thrown out.
Pitch misses outside, 2 balls and a strike. Beltre on the season, 253, 5 homers, 31 RBI. Sarlo steals the 2-1, checked his swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. 2-2.
And you got Beltre coming up at the plate right now. Sexton on deck. I mean, again, when you get thrown out in this situation, you wonder why you're running.
First base umpire Brian Onora calling that strike. The 2-2 is lined over the shortstop's head into left field for a base hit. So a 2-out single for Beltre.
I think it's safe to say he's not going to be still in this situation.
No. And that will bring up Richie Sexton, of course. The game-winning hit. They don't keep that statistic anymore, but still the game-winning hit for Sexton, knocking in Ichiro in the 12th. Sexton also hitting his 16th home run. That leads the Mariners, 242 on the season, 16 homers, 54 RBIs. First pitch to the right-handed hitting Richie is outside for ball 1.
And I was talking to Don Bailey, the hitting coach for the Mariners, before the game. And, the one thing he loves about Sexton is the fact that he uses his hips. I mean, he's got that thing called torque.
The 1-0 fouled away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And what I mean by torque is the fact that he's not armed when he's swinging the bat. He's using his whole body, and his hips kind of lead his power. And when he gets those hips into it, man, he hit the ball a long way all over the place, too. He's not just a dead pull hitter. He's a guy who can go out and right center, right down the line as well.
The 1-1. Breaking ball misses outside. 2 balls and a strike. Gary Cedarstrom is the second base umpire. Bill Welke over at third. And Tim Welke, the crew chief, is behind the plate. 2 balls and a strike. We have 2 outs, bottom of the first inning. And a big cut and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Going after him with a fastball. I like it. No, he's not going to throw another fastball after that. He's got to be thinking off speed all the way.
No score, just getting started. A's and Mariners. Sarlo steals, and it is foul tipped. He stays alive, 2-2.
I think the one positives you can take so far out of the Mariners this season is that, position-wise, if they stay healthy, they could be a threat in the years to come. They still have to work on that pitching. And, again, every team would like good starting pitching, and the Mariners no exception.
Sarlo steals the 2-2, and it is fouled back toward the dugout. Count remains 2-2. And you think about the injuries even now. Dan Wilson out for an extended period of time. So is Wiki Gonzalez. Pokey Reese has been on the DL. He's hopefully coming back soon. Scott Spezio. Don't forget the youngster Rafael Soriano, the reliever. Bobby Madrich, one of the guys in their rotation that the Mariners were high on last year. Not that there's any excuses there.
Yeah, but those are a lot of guys they depended on this year. And to have that many players on the DL, you really can't expect to go out there and make a lot of noise in the division.
3 balls and 2 strikes. The first baseman Johnson's not even holding Beltre on with a full count and 2 outs. Runner goes, and it is fouled off his leg by Sexton. Still full count.
Yeah, I'd like to see this ball club next year if they do something this offseason as far as getting maybe a little middle relief, maybe another starting pitcher. I think they can be pretty good. Sexton, I think he'll get used to being back in the American League. It's been a while for him. Adrian Beltre.
And also he missed a huge amount of time last year.
Missed a lot last year. Beltre will get used to being in the American League because there is a huge difference.
Runner goes, and it is cut on and missed, strike 3. So Sexton is down on strikes. Both teams get 1 hit here in the first, but do not push a run across. After 1, we are scoreless between the A's and Mariners. You're watching MLB TV.
Grinder baseball rule number 1. Win or die trying. Not a complicated rule, but a basic one. It's simple. You go out there and grind out a win every day. And if you can't win every game, well, then all we ask is that you die trying. Demanding, yes. Tough, absolutely. Required for hard-nosed team baseball, you betcha. You see Chicago White Sox players, coaches, front office, hot dog vendors, parking lot attendants, and especially fans hate losing. You know what I'm talking about. About the kind of hate reserved for those impossible, twisty ties that hold new toys in their boxes. That's why we play by a certain set of rules, like never walk even when you walk. That's rule number 37, advance the runner at all costs. Rule 62, never be late for the national anthem no matter what nation you're from. Rule 18, no boy band music in the clubhouse. Okay, that's my rule. But fans deserve a team relentlessly focused on winning, doing whatever it takes to win. That's what being a grinder is all about. Win or die trying, yeah. That's Sox rule number 1. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit WhiteSox.com. The 2005 White Sox, presented by U.S. Cellular.
Log on to the MLB.com shop for all your baseball gear. Our featured item is the Stan Hot Baby Doll Tee, perfect for going to the ballpark and showing everyone what your favorite baseball show is. The Stan Hot with Seth and Bone Baby Doll Tee is 100% pre-shrunk cotton. Available in small, medium, large, and extra large, it can be yours for only $19.95. I have mine on right now. So don't miss out. Log on to MLB.com shop, the official store for Major League Baseball.
Back here in Seattle, Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton from MLB Radio, bringing you the MLB TV broadcast of the A's and Mariners as we go to the top of the second. It'll be Kelty, Johnson, and Ellis for the Oakland A's, and the first pitch from Ryan Franklin is a ball. And quickly now it's 2-0. Kelty, 275, 4 homers, 28 RBIs on the season. The pitch fouled back toward the screen. Coming up this inning, for our listeners on MLB Radio, we'll actually be taking an email or two from you folks. The old email address is still open, radio@MLB.com. The 2-1 from Franklin is cut on a miss, 2-2.
Now, we've seen a little bit of the A's this year. I mean, what are your thoughts on their future? Because, you know, with all the money ball talk and the fact that the pitching has been so important for this ball club, it's kind of going in another direction.
Checked his swing, does not go around, so it's a full count. 3-2 to Bobby Kelty. And the pitch misses outside, ball 4. And so the leadoff man is on once again, as it was in the first inning. And now that'll bring up Dan Johnson.
Now, I'm looking at the roster here for the Oakland A's, and I mean, power-wise, it's totally different what this team has done in the past. You know, it used to be guys hitting 25, 30 home runs by now. Basically, it's a slap-hitting ball club. I mean, I hate saying that, especially different for the A's, but that's what it is now.
Dan Johnson's numbers, 278, a homer, and 7 RBIs. Runner leads off first, and the pitch misses low, 2 balls and no strikes. The catcher Borders will go out to talk to Franklin, as he missed on the last 2 pitches.
Throwing a lot of pitches this inning. I mean, definitely out of the strike zone. I mean, you got to be aggressive with these guys and throw strikes. If they hit it, fine. But from a position player point of view, you hate just staying out there seeing ball 1, ball 2, strike 1, ball 3. You and I would make a lot of errors. That's how you do it.
That one is popped up in the infield. Morse, the shortstop, flips the glasses, and he loses it in the sun. They throw over to the second baseman, Boone, covering to get the lead runner. So it's a fielder's choice, but the pop fly, he lost in that sun.
Well, the one thing I like about what Morris did, he didn't panic. I mean, you can tell when the ball's hit, he's going to have a little trouble. But if you're at first base, there's no way you can go halfway down or try to get to second because you think that ball's caught automatically. It's the first thing you're always taught as far as a position player is concerned. When the ball's hit, do not panic. Once you start panicking, that's when things get out of hand.
That poise for the youngster there has shown a lot of range at shortstop, especially for being such a tall young man.
Yes, he is a tall young man.
Rather striking. The pitch to Ellis is in there for a called strike one. 281, a homer, and 11 RBIs. For Mark Ellis, who leads off first. Not nearly as striking.
Yeah, there you go. I think because of the way the ball club has changed from the Oakland's point of view, they got to do a lot more hitting, running, and bunting and doing little things. Playing small ball, I want to say.
Line shot up the middle. That's a base hit. So quickly, Johnson will go to second base. And the runners have first and second with a one out.
Gone from money ball to small ball, right? That's the best way to put it.
You know, there was a talk. It's funny you brought up that book because you can't go through an A's game and not at least have the subject come up, especially with Nick Swisher coming up. But the fact is, you know that it's still on the radar screen in terms of book sales. You know that people are still wanting to know what the whole fervor was about?
Yeah.
Swisher, of course, the switch hitter, 225, 5 homers, 23 RBIs for this Oakland A's ball club. First pitch is in there for a called strike.
But you never get an opportunity to hear a general manager talk about his thinking or what his thoughts are as far as building an organization. So when that book came out, I mean, it was a big deal.
Skied foul to left. Decent crowd on hand here for the afternoon getaway day. Not quite capacity, but you see the two lower decks pretty much full.
I'll tell you what, for two last-place teams.
It's pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
The 0-2 to Nick Swisher. Sky to left in foul territory. Does Beltre have room? He has a beat on it, and he makes the underhanded catch.
I tell you what, there's going to be problems all day today with the sun because it sets up right behind home plate. And anything hitting the hair, especially a pop-up in the infield, it's going to be an adventure.
But Beltre does make the play on the foul ball, and now there's 2 outs with runners at first and second.
I tell you, the smart thing he did was kind of got around that ball and turned his body a different way so he can kind of block the sun a little bit. But on a pop fly like that, you have time to do it. It's going to be interesting if we see line drives in the outfield, what's going to happen.
Again, you can get your emails in at radio@mlb.com. And if you're curious to know more about MLB Radio, just log on to mlbradio.net. No score between the A's and Mariners. We're in the top of the second as Marco Scutaro slices that one foul for strike one. Scutaro on the season, 245, 3 homers, and 19 RBIs. And if you were listening on MLB Radio earlier, we talked to Kotze about the offensive struggles for the Oakland A's and how when you have a decrease in your pitching staff, just the compound pressure that puts on this lineup as the pitch is at the knees for strike two, and just the domino effect that's had on this whole ball club.
Well, you're not going to have too many opportunities to score. So if you can't deliver, it's going to be even tougher, and you put more pressure on yourself to try to deliver next time, which makes it even more tougher.
Fans getting behind Ryan Franklin as he looks for the third strike. We're here in the top of the second.
He sounds like a shortstop, doesn't he? Marco Scutaro.
Former New York Met.
Enough said.
The 0-2 pitch just misses low, and the count now, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
How many guys can you honestly say were former New York Mets? It's got to be on every ball club.
I'm talking to one. I do it every day.
Not bad. That's not bad right there. Good lob.
That's only the second inning. In the 8th, see what other nonsense they come up with as the pitch high and tight. And the reason why that gets a little bit of a rise out of the crowd, we've already had 2 hit batters, both in the first inning, 1 for each team. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two outs here in the second. And the pitch misses low and outside. Now the count goes full, 3-2.
Well, the one thing you have to worry about right now if you're a Mariner fan is that he's throwing a lot of pitches this inning. He's already up to 30, and we're not even out of the second inning.
So a full count to Marco Scutaro as Franklin looks in for the sign. And the runners go. The pitch fouled back to our right. And the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Classic American League game. A lot of pitches. You see a lot of at-bats. 5 at-bats is the norm for anyone in the lineup for American League game. He'll probably have 120 pitches by the 5th inning.
I don't know if he'll be throwing all of those, though. Checked his swing. Did he go around? No, he did not. And that's ball 4. They quickly went to the first base umpire, Brian Onora. Franklin walked off the mound like he had it, and he thought he was out of the inning. Now here's Brian Price to come out to talk to Ryan Franklin.
I think it was more of his body and not his bat kind of lean over towards first base.
So Johnson is now at third, Mark Ellis at second, and Marco Scutaro at first. Back to the top of the order, and Kotze. Mark singled his first time up through the hole at shortstop.
And we're getting back to those points where you talk about when you're not scoring a lot of runs, if the opportunity comes, you got to take advantage of it. And it's certainly an opportunity, only with 2 outs, though, certainly an opportunity for the A's to get on the board.
You mentioned the pitch count for Ryan Franklin, already 31 pitches, and we're still here 2 outs here in the second. No score, Mariners and A's, top 2. Bases are loaded. Franklin deals, and that pitch is skied fairly deep to left center field. Reed calls it, makes the catch, and the Mariners get out escaping trouble. No runs, a hit, and they leave them loaded. And after an inning and a half, it is the Mariners nothing and the A's nothing. We'll keep it right here on MLB Radio and MLB.tv. And check some emails here as we roll on. Radio at MLB.com. Kevin writes us and says, I'm a Mariners fan, and I'm still wondering when Adrian Beltre is going to start hitting some home runs. Last year at this time, he had about 16, but this year only 5. What is the major difference in this drop-off?
Well, I think it is a big difference, the fact that he's in a new league. And a lot of people, you know, Vladimir Guerrero kind of screwed it up for every player that's switching leagues because he came over from the National League, been in the National League his entire career, jumped over to the American League, and what does he do his first year? Becomes the American League most valuable player. So I think it'd be great if every player were in that situation, but everyone's not like Vladimir. And you have to learn new pitchers. Although interleague play, you get used to some of the ballparks a little bit more. But I think it's just going to be a learning process for him for at least the first half of the season. I think once he gets a little more settled down and get a chance to see guys the second or third time around, he'll be okay.
Real quickly, Nick in Seattle writes us at radio at MLB.com. Since you guys said you were going to be taking emails during the game, I had an idea. I'd love to see if you and Bone can out-homer John Sterling and come up with incredibly ridiculous names and phrases. Who would be nice, too.
Latino Bambino.
Raul Ibanez.
Booner.
Raul Ibanez will lead off the bottom of the second.
It's different. Booner. It is Thursday.
Yes, it is. For more information, that's stayinghot.mlblogs.com. Raul Ibanez, Brett Boone, and Jeremy Reed here in the bottom of the second, as the first pitch from Sarlutz is in there for strike 1. Ibanez, this is his second tour of duty with Seattle. 298, 9 home runs, 36 RBIs. And he slices this one to shallow right field. Coming on is Swisher, makes the catch, 1 down. That'll bring up Brett Boone. This is his second consecutive game that he has played. Boone was shut down for 4 games, went back to basics, worked with hitting coach Don Baylor. worked on hitting stance, hitting stroke. He had been struggling, went 1 for 4 in yesterday's game, his first game back. Overall in the season, 227, 5 home runs, and 29 RBIs. Takes inside for ball 1 and just now looks at ball 2.
You know, it's always tough when you have a veteran guy who's had success in the past. When he struggles a little bit, trying to get him on pace again. I think it's just a confidence factor for him right now. Sure, he's taking some bad at-bats, which everyone goes through. But his confidence is so low right now. I mean, Dave Niehaus, who was on earlier, said he's taking it to the field with him.
The 3-0 pitch is in there. He was taking all the way. 3 balls and a strike. That one is lined into left center field, but will hold up as the center fielder Katse gets here to make the catch in time. Hit it on the nose, did Brett Boone.
But when you're struggling, you hit it on the nose right at someone.
That ball hung up just enough for Katse to get into position.
Oh, and he's cursing him right now. He's cursing Katse in center field because, again, when you're struggling, you're looking for anything to get you going. Hit the ball good, but absolutely nothing to show for it.
Mariners are really high on Jeremy Reed, who steps in and takes ball 1. Reed came over last year in the Freddie Garcia trade from the White Sox. 267, 2 homers, and 24 RBI. Cut on and missed for strike 1. And Reed is a player who gets the majority of the time at center field, and this is a team who has Randy Wynn.
Yeah, they moved him to the corners to give him an opportunity to take some days off. You know, I really believe when you start playing the corners, it's almost like a day off because you don't have to worry about running in the gaps as much. Center field is such a tough position to play.
Spoken like you've done it.
I did it for a couple years here and there.
Ball and 2 strikes to Reed, and that one is in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I'm glad you did your research. Very good.
Oh, on you? I've got tons of research.
I bet you do. Talking baseball, right?
I haven't had to look up your statistics yet. The 2-2. Sliced into left field. That's a fair ball. Reed with the big turn. It'll roll into the corner. And Jeremy Reed is in there with a stand-up double.
I mean, not a bad pitch to a fastball in the outside corner. He kind of stayed with it, got it down the left field line. Good piece of hitting. But it seems like when 2 teams struggle, like the A's and the Mariners have been all year, you get the opportunity to score runs only with 2 outs. And it's another situation now, a double, 2 outs. Got to come up with a clutch base hit to get him in.
That'll bring up the shortstop Mike Morse, whose big clutch base hit in the 9th inning kept the Mariners' hopes alive. And they wound up coming up with the 12th inning victory as Morse takes outside ball 1.
This is a big kid. I mean, 6'4", 220. Talking to Don Bailey, he says this guy needs to fill out a little bit more. Really?
So far hitting .397 on the just short stretch that he's been up in the big leagues. Already has a home run and 7 RBIs and a stolen base. A .473 on base percentage as the count 1-1 to Mike Morse.
Well, I will give respect to Don Bailey. The one thing he loves about hitters that big is he wants them to look strong at the plate.
1-1 pitch, bounce toward third. Chavez flips across in time, and that'll do it for Seattle here in the 2nd. No runs, a hit, a man left. We have played 2 here in the Pacific Northwest. The score, the A's nothing and the Mariners nothing. You're watching MLB TV.
Did you ever want to know more about your favorite players? Well, now it's possible with the new interview show called Players Talk on MLB Radio and MLBplayers.com. Hear what White Sox first baseman Paul Konerko thinks separates this year's squad from recent ones.
I think the main thing is we made some nice moves with some of the position players, but in the end, I think the bullpen moves we made and getting El Duque, Orlando Hernandez in here, I think those will be, in the end, what makes us be winners because I think the pitching staff is so important. And our bullpen right now, you know, we got some arms down there, guys who are proven guys that have pitched out of the bullpen with proven numbers. And, you know, when you get in these tight ball games, that usually winds up being the difference. We have guys that can hit, but, you know, the theory is we probably won't need as much offense because our pitching is holding down the other team from scoring runs.
Listen to Players Talk, presented by MLBplayers.com and the Players Trust, featuring the most in-depth interviews around. only on MLB Radio and MLBplayers.com.
I hit .272 over a 9-year career in the major leagues. I grew up in Western Virginia. That's Western Virginia, not West Virginia. I played my college ball at James Madison. I singled on my first major league pitch with Texas, only to be pinch run for moments later. I was 5th in the league in stolen bases in 1983, and before that I was 4th in the league in hit by pitches in 1981, and some of those pitches hurt. Who am I? I'm Billy Sample, and I'm dropping some bat head.
Billy Sample. In-depth analysis, funny commentary, and knowledge of the game. Heard only on MLB.com radio.
Back here in Seattle, Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton in the top of the third. No score between the Oakland A's and Seattle Mariners. The commercials that you have been hearing on MLB TV are from MLB Radio. And, of course, if you're listening on MLB Radio, you knew that already. Jason Kendall will lead things off here in the top of the third.
This is Mike Timlin of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah. See? Thanks, Mike.
Takes a strike to Kendall. And that one lined right back to Franklin. Throws over to first base, and we've got one down. Kendall was hit by a pitch his first time up. That'll bring up Chavez.
I read an article the other day about Chavez and the fact that it's never made the All-Star game. That's kind of surprising because a guy who's always put up some pretty serious numbers. I believe he has 4 Gold Gloves.
Takes a pitch outside for ball 1.
You would think a guy who's had as much success as he has would be on the All-Star team at least a couple times.
Pitch low for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Chavez flied to center his first time up, hitting .255 on the season. Mariners play him to straight away. And the pitch swung on and missed for strike 1. No runs, 2 hits for Oakland, no runs, 2 hits for Seattle. We're in the top of the third. Slice foul down the left side. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, with all the players that have come in and out with the A's, Chavez obviously the one who stayed. Signed him to a long-term deal. You think if he had to do it all over again, he would sign that deal?
Well, it's funny that you mention that because a lot of people say when it came to Chavez that he thought that it wasn't going to break up as soon. It was almost like he couldn't foresee the big 3 being broke up so soon. And remember, we talked about it in the offseason. We kind of figured one of them was getting traded.
Sure.
Tim Hudson to Atlanta.
Right.
I didn't think Mulder was getting traded, and
right.
I think that caught Chavez off guard, kind of taking to your point a little bit. Pitch inside for ball 4, so Chavez is on. With the 1-out walk. That'll bring up Hatteberg.
But, I know they're thinking as far as trying to build for the future, but, when you see the starting pitching that's in the American League or in baseball for that matter, you really scratch your head and wonder why Oakland didn't give it one more year. Try to see what they can get a little bit further as far as the playoffs are concerned with the big 3.
Pitch to Hatteberg is low for ball 1. Hatteberg 0 for 1, bouncing to a double play his first time up. Third base coach Ron Washington giving the signs over to Hatteberg. And the pitch misses outside, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
It's a classic American League game. 42 pitches already. Third inning.
The pitch by Franklin. Lined over Sexton's head into right field. That'll be a base hit. On the play, Chavez will go to third. So runners at the corners now for Oakland with less than 2 outs for Bobby Kelty.
And finally, a serious scoring opportunity. Something without 2 outs,
Kelty walked his first time up. just the third base hit for Oakland. But we've already had hit batters and walks.
And I tell you, from a position player point of view, I mean, it's so frustrating when you get a guy on the mound who's throwing ball after ball after ball. I mean, you kind of sit back on your heels, and that's when you have the opportunity to make a lot of errors or a lot of mistakes. You got to get in there and throw strikes to keep guys into the game.
The pitch is in there for a called strike. Can I say what my instinct? Did we make a deal that what we were going to say what our instincts were no matter what?
Sure.
Could be worse. You could have been in Tampa Bay the other night. Playing the outfield during the 13-run inning.
Oh, boy. Thank goodness there aren't any microphones on any of the players in the outfield.
None that we know of, at least. 0-1 pitch. Hit fairly deep to right field. Ichiro at the track. He will make the catch. Chavez tags from third, and the A's have a 1-0 lead.
Good job right there. I mean, you're trying to make contact. That's the first thing, and not trying to hit in that double play. If anything up in the zone, you got to take advantage of it and try to hit a fly ball. Kelke did a good job of doing that, getting the run in.
So now it's a 1-0 ball game. Hatteberg stays at first, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Dan Johnson. I always wanted to ask you about that open stance that you see Johnson here. It just seems like of all the hitches you could have in a swing, as the pitch is in there for a called strike, of all the hitches you could have in a swing, movement of the legs would not make sense. It just wouldn't seem comfortable.
Well, a lot of guys feel if they have that open stance, they can focus on seeing a ball a whole lot better. You know, when you're kind of blocking off the pitch.
That one is line down the right field line. Had the distance. Wasn't straight enough. It's a foul ball. No balls and 2 strikes.
Some guys feel that when you have a certain stance to where you opened up like that, you can see everything. You can see the whole pitch. And if you have to dive into a ball, so be it. But a lot of guys don't throw inside anyway.
The 0-2 pitch to Johnson misses for ball 1.
That's one thing I never understand, why pitchers don't throw more inside. It's a good opportunity to do it.
The 1-2 pitch in the dirt, blocked by Borders. And the count evens up 2 balls and 2 strikes. One nothing A's. We're in the top of the third.
Wow.
Sky to left center field. Coming on is Wynn. He fights the sun, makes the catch, and that retires the side. But the A's get on the board. They get 1 run on a base hit, and they leave a man. And after 2.5 here in Seattle, it's the A's 1 and the Mariners nothing. You're watching Major League Baseball on MLB TV.
This is Mike Timlin of the Boston Red Sox. Check me out every other week on MLB Radio with Billy Sample and Brian McRae as I talk Sox.
And the Boston Red Sox are the world champions. Can you believe it?
Get the inside track as we try to defend our World Series trophy throughout the 2005 season by emailing me at radio@mlb.com.
No one covers the game like us. This is MLB Radio.
Boys and Girls Clubs, Major League Baseball charities, and Al Leiter on...
If you guys are going to play this game, you have to stay in shape, especially you older guys. How old are you?
I'm only 8.
Let's go. Jumper jacks.
1, 2, 3.
And stop. Now everybody start hopping.
Look at me.
It's a very important stretch. Faster. Feel it? Woo! Let's go.
Boys and Girls Clubs and Major League Baseball. Together they create a positive place for kids.
Your grandparents came here.
The long drive going, and it's a home run for Joe DiMaggio.
Your parents came here.
Here comes Roger Maris in to score, and Cepeda pulling the second with a double.
Now it's your turn.
It's gone, and Robin Yount has hit successive home runs off Jim
Cooperstown, New York, a tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888-Hall of Fame.
Back here in Seattle, Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton, MLB TV. We go to the bottom of the third in a 1-0 game. It'll be Borders Suzuki, and Wynn. And the 9-1-2 slots in this lineup facing Kirk Saarloos, who has given up just 2 hits so far in this game. He also has thrown a lot of pitches, 37 through the first 2.
And it may not be a big deal right now, but, as we get towards the 5th, 6th inning.
The 0-1 pitch bounced foul.
That's when it becomes a big problem.
And you had an extra inning ball game last night.
You'd like for that guy to stay in there a little while. Try to get at least 6, 7 innings out of it, especially with the extra inning game last night.
The 1-1 pitch misses outside. Strike 2, rather. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Entering today's game, Mariners starters are 6-2 with a 2.47 ERA over the past 13 games. So you see how these teams want to keep up that pace, as we saw Franklin laboring through the first 3.
Yeah.
Skied foul, so the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hit on the hand. Chavez cuts it off. Throws across in time, 1 down.
Yeah, it's amazing that Borders is still doing what he's doing right now at 42. I mean, there's no chance in hell I can get on the field right now, and I'm 40. No comment, huh?
Discipline.
I have no discipline, people. Okay, thank you.
Maybe if you wanted it more, I don't know.
Okay, next subject.
That'll bring up Ichiro, 0 for 1.
Yeah, he's my partner.
On the inside.
Backs me up.
Part of the plate. Strike 1 to Ichiro Suzuki. One of the top 3 vote getters for the American League All-Star team, as he slaps that one to Chavez again. Throws across, 2 down.
Again, you got to throw a lot of strikes to Ichiro. Kind of throw him inside and force him to pull the ball. Now when he kind of got on his front foot, pushed it to third base, but make him swing the bat. Get him in good pitching situations and make him swing the bat. I know a lot of people will try to do different things with him, but he's such a good hitter. That's probably the only way you can be consistent with him.
Coming up at the end of this inning, we'll take your emails at radio@mlb.com. That's radio@mlb.com, as we're being simulcasted also on MLB Radio. Randy Wynn takes ball 1. Hit by a pitch his first time up. Chavez in at the grass as that one is sliced foul to the left side. We were talking about all the inquiries for Randy Wynn, mostly last season when the Mariners were way out of it. Not to really say that they're in it now, but they're 6 under 500 now. It's the 1-1 again, sliced foul past the third base coaching box. And the reality of it is that in this day and age, with teams looking for pitching, and so many of them, especially this year with all the bullpen falters that we've seen throughout the major leagues, you kind of wonder, and this applies, I would say, to Kotsay as well, what does Randy Wynn do for a team that's trying to make a run? The 1-2 misses, and the count evens up 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, a lot of teams feel that they're that one piece away, one guy who not necessarily maybe a standout player like a superstar, but a guy put in the right situation could help them out.
Bounce toward second, picked up by Scutero, makes the throw in time, and our first 1-2-3 inning here in the third. 3 up, 3 down. We have played 3, and it's the Oakland A's 1 and the Seattle Mariners nothing. Let's take some emails here. Radio@MLB.com or MLB Radio Live as we roll on here. Josh from South Dakota says, again, Burns isn't in the lineup. While I would be sad to see him go, I'm afraid that if he were to go, the A's might opt to do a fire sale involving players such as Kotsay and Zito. What is the likelihood of a fire sale if Burns or Kotsay are traded? I would say the best indication is what are they getting in return? Are they getting even players that are part of the major league roster?
Yeah.
The idea is that if you're chalking up this season, you don't necessarily want to go for a double-A talent unless the talent blows you away.
True, and I think for the most part, you don't want to give up yet. And, I hate saying that teams are giving up if they trade guys, but basically you want to compete for the future. You want to try to get your team in a situation where they can win.
And for those of you watching on MLB TV, no, that's not file footage of Darryl during his playing days.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
You were saying,
but you like to get an opportunity to win, and at this point, even in Oakland, had a couple pieces here and there. I think there's a ways away. You give up 2 pitchers from last year that are number 1 starters on respective teams this year. You're not going to win this year. With that in mind, you might want to make some deals and try to get a little bit better for the future because Oakland's not that far away, at least in my opinion, they're not.
Christine in New Jersey says, how are your travels to the West Coast, guys? Darryl had a schmitter for you last night and got to see a good game. We aren't going to talk about today's game, though Tomei did hit another home run, so there may be hope. It does not seem like either Oakland or Seattle is going to be in the playoff race, but you only seem to hear about possible Oakland players who may be traded. What do you think Seattle is looking for in a trade, and who might they be willing to trade? We'll touch on that as we start the top of the 4th. Mark Ellis in there at the knees for strike 1. Ryan Franklin in his 4th inning of work has given up just 3 hits and the 1 run. Mariners are in a different place than the A's because the Mariners' issues have been a lack of production from some veteran players, as that one is skied to fairly deep right center. Ichiro will not get it. Jeremy Reed dives and makes the catch.
I tell you, that was such a tough play because it was slicing away from him in center field. And honestly, when the ball was hit, I thought it was Ichiro's ball all the way. But he kind of backed out to the end, and Jeremy Reed made a great play to catch up with it, make the diving play in center field.
Mariners have had some great defensive center fielders in their day. And Jeremy Reed showing how he can be on that list. Great catch right there.
They had a couple good center fielders here.
I would think.
That's probably the toughest part of playing right field, when a ball's sliced in the gap. You don't know if you should go after it. Just got to learn your center fielder to see what kind of range he has.
That'll bring up Swisher now, who takes ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes to Nick Swisher. He's 0 for 1. Foul, his first time up.
Say, Ichiro is so cool out in right field. He kind of played it off like it was no big deal.
I could have had that.
Go ahead, kid.
Let the kid.
Go ahead, kid.
The 2-0 misses, and the ball now, and the count now 3-0.
Yeah, we'll see you on top 10 plays, kid. Go ahead, make the play.
Jeremy Reed getting full extension as the 3-0 is in there for a called strike 1. Ryan Franklin, 57 pitches. Here with 1 out in the 4th.
Am I wrong for saying that? That's a lot of pitches.
In any league.
There you go.
Fouled back right above the screen, and the count goes full.
And let me go on record right now, because we're only in the 4th inning.
And we've been off the record so far.
So far, we've been off the record. We will get a ball up in this box. I am a straight magnet.
Didn't we see? Balls. Wasn't this the last time we saw Seattle?
The second time 2 times we've done that.
3-2 is over the shortstop Morse's head. And it goes into left field for a base hit for Swisher, and you have to get lift on that ball considering the height of Morse over at shortstop.
Yeah, he's a little guy at 6'4".
Kind of reminds you of another giant shortstop that the Mariners also had at one point.
Well, you're going down that memory lane, aren't you?
Just get that Barbra Streisand song started. Marco Scutaro walked his first time up.
You think that guy you're talking about wish he was still here? Taking a little heat on the East Coast.
Strike 1 to Scutaro. Just got to remember the microphone is on.
Yeah, sure. I wonder how many times guys who've been in a place where they were happy, gone somewhere else, sit back and said, Lord, I wish I was back there.
What did I do? Why did I need to do that?
Be careful what you wish for.
On the inside corner for strike 2, no balls and 2 strikes. You know, his former teammate, Ken Griffey Jr., could see that apply. And the guy was all-world here
Yeah, you ate breakfast with him a lot during that time. Every morning.
Yeah.
Seth and Junior.
Just going to make sure he's healthy.
Right.
Runner leads off first, and the pitch misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Could you see Junior coming back here and maybe ending his career?
That question gets asked all the time.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was doing something new here.
But the idea, it makes perfect sense. And you know he'd be welcomed back by this franchise. Handled so much differently than when the other 2 superstars left. Randy Johnson, who was furious with then general manager Woody Woodward because of the Mariners' lack of desire to sign him to a long-term contract at the time.
Say that
1-2. Bounce now. Beltre flips, makes the throw, and it gets away from Sexton. Everybody advances. Swisher will round third, hold there. Second and third. Tough play for Adrian Beltre.
It was a tough play. I mean, he went to his left, kind of dove for the ball, came up and really primarily wanted to go to second base with it. Saw he had no chance. Tough throw, short hot Sexton at first, but I don't know. You got to make that play if you're at first base. If you're a major league first baseman, you got to make that play.
The throw was in the vicinity, and Beltre had done essentially the hard part.
It'd be interesting to see who's going to get the error. Of course, Beltre will probably get the error in that situation,
Yep.
but
They'll give him a base hit and an error, allowing the runners to advance. The 5th base hit for the A's. Now they have second and third with 1 out, and Mike Hargrove has to bring the infield in at the corners. Bounce right back to Franklin, and they've got Swisher caught in the rundown. Beltre makes the tag. Everyone else advances, but they get the lead run.
And Franklin did the wise thing in that situation. When the ball's hit right at you, you've got a chance of getting a run down with a guy on third base. The first thing you want to do is run right at the runner. Run directly at the runner and force him to make a decision. That's what he did. Force him to go back to third base, and then you get him in a rundown. And if you can't get a guy out in a rundown in the major leagues, you shouldn't be in the big leagues.
And Beltre, a good job of catching up to Swisher, so he didn't have to make that extra throw. The more throws you make in that situation, the more chances of something going wrong.
Better chance of you screwing up something.
To put it mildly.
A little harsh. A little harsh.
Better chance. I say the throw can go awry. You're like, better chance of screwing up. You say tomato, I say tomato.
The worst thing about doing a game like this, Sam, to keep the score is a rundown.
Well,
there's a lot of numbers you got to throw down there.
Now runners on first and second with 2 outs for Kendall, who was hit by a pitch in the first inning and grounded to the pitcher his second time up.
And the A's have been in some pretty good scoring opportunities so far. I mean, we're only in the 4th inning. Last 2 innings, they had pretty good opportunities to get some runs in. Kotze, I think, got a little antsy on the first pitch swinging. But you get that way sometimes when you get guys on the bases in scoring position.
We're in the top of the 4th, 1-0. Oakland on top of Seattle. Kendall up at the plate with a 2-0 count. Franklin deals. That one is sliced toward right. Going back, Ichiro. He makes the catch, and that side is retired. So the A's threaten again, but do not score. And after 3.5, it's the Oakland A's 1 and Seattle 0. You're watching Major League Baseball on MLB TV. A lot happens on MLB Radio. Breaking news, top name guests, and plenty of fun. But let's say you missed Billy Sample's latest thoughts on the National League East, or didn't get the Lolo from Darryl Hamilton on Staying Hot. Well, now you can check out the daily archives. Simply navigate to the MLB Radio page on MLB.com and click on Archives in the upper left-hand corner. It's here that you'll get the latest information on the GM Corner, or hear from the feature guest on the Pat Sajak Baseball Hour. All with the click of a button. Miss it the first time around and hit the MLB Radio archives. Yet another feature, MLB Radio.
The following is a public service announcement for Staying Hot with approval from the MLB Radio Council. This is your brain.
This party is such a drag.
This is your brain while staying hot. In order to stay hot with more of the latter, I fully encourage daily listening to Staying Hot. Surgeon General's findings suggest that kids who listen to Staying Hot are 100% more likely to lead positive, healthy lives and are equally as likely to ask their mother, Mama, what is a badonkadonk? Scientific research has also shown that those who listen to Staying Hot are more likely to have higher self-esteem due to the thank God I'm not that guy effect. No Mets fans were heard in the recording of this message. I am the winner of the 2005 MLB radio casting call, and I might very well be wearing my John Smoltz Atlanta Braves jersey while you're hearing this. I am Chris from Alabama, and I approve this message.
Staying Hot with Seth and Bone, weekdays from 3 until 6 in the afternoon Eastern Time. No one covers the game like us. This is MLB Radio.
Paid for by the Ad Council for keeping the hex on.
Back here on MLB TV, Seattle Mariners trail the Oakland A's by a 1-0 count. It'll be Beltre, Sexton, and Ibanez. As we welcome you back, Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton from MLB Radio, bringing you today's MLB TV exclusive. Earlier today, the Minnesota Twins defeated the Detroit Tigers 6-2 in another MLB TV exclusive. That game, of course, 2 hours and 6 minutes, a complete game victory for Carlos Silva.
Figures.
And the Minnesota Twins. Bottom 4. And it's a 1-0 A's lead.
Who did that game?
That would be
Ciano and Micucci?
That would be correct.
Living the life. 2-hour game. Stay hot. How do you do it?
Hope their flight is delayed.
I hope so, too.
Pitch is in there for called strike 2. Sarlos has just given up the 2 base hits and has been impressive in his first 3 innings of work. Beltre singled for 1 of those base hits, his first time up. You bring up Beltre, and we talked about this when he was up before, and I understand that the defense is great, but up until last season, as the pitch is outside, ball 2, 2 balls, 2 strikes, up until last season, people were wondering when Beltre would have that breakout season. So he has the breakout season as he swings and misses at a pitch out of the strike zone. And then the question is, well, what do you do for an encore? You get the big contract. You choose to leave Los Angeles after they had made a huge effort to re-sign you.
Well, I mean, he was kind of forced in a situation to, look at all the deals that were offered to him. And, time is important. And when you have a great year at a free agent year, you got to take advantage of it because it doesn't come around too often.
First pitch is in there for a ball. 1-0 to Sexton. He struck out. That was Sarlos' second strikeout of the afternoon. Cuts and misses 1-1.
You look at Richie Sexton. Last year he was out most of the season. But you get a huge contract offer from the Mariners. You got to take it.
Cut on and foul back to the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's like when you signed with MLB.
Similar.
The huge deal you got, you had to take it.
The press conference was a little different.
It was a little different, but ESPN and Fox have suffered since.
Much more contentious than you would figure.
Sure.
The 1-2 misses. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I remember the first time I had an opportunity to play against Richie Sexton. I got on first base and I said, my Lord, you're tall. And I was standing on the bag. I was like, dude, you're huge.
Stays alive.
Tall.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Tall.
Did he reply like, what are you saying down there?
He's like, hey, man, thanks.
Hey, man, thanks.
There's a conversation
Why
breaker.
do I have a feeling it wasn't hey, man, thanks? Coming up in our next inning, as that's a called strike 3, the real story. That'll bring up Ibanez. Skied to right his first time up. What a difference a manager makes. When Ibanez had his first tour of duty with Seattle, Lou Piniella never really gave him an opportunity to play every day. So he goes off and signs the deal with Kansas City, breaks out offensively. Now he finds himself back in Seattle. First for Bob Melvin, now with Mike Hargrove. He's getting the opportunities. He averaged just under 300, and he continues to deliver.
Well, it's all about, in some guys' situation, opportunities. If they get a chance to play every day, I mean, I really believe that everybody in the league gets some type of opportunity to go out there and do their thing. Now, what you do with that opportunity, it's up to you. But I think everyone gets a chance to play. It's tough being an everyday player in the big leagues.
The 0-2 pitch. Bounce foul toward the Mariner dugout.
I mean, we always talk about players who do well for a certain period of time, then kind of fall off the face of the earth. I mean, I always call them 4A players. They're good enough for AAA, but not good enough for the big leagues.
And he had that label on him.
Yes.
No balls and 2 strikes. Misses inside, and the count 1-2. Mets beat Philadelphia today 4-3. Milwaukee topped the Cubs 8-7. These are all finals. And, of course, for more details, you can log on to MLB.com, which I'm assuming you did if you're hearing us now.
Mm-hmm. Bill Hall hit a 2-run homer in the 8th inning in that Cubs-Brewers game to give the Brew Crew the win.
Ibanez waves at strike 3, and Kirk Saarloos has struck out the side. So just like that, we are moving right along. To the 5th we go. The A's 1 and the Mariners nothing. You're watching MLB TV.
This is Staying Hot.
The shortstop from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Royce Clayton. What was your impression of everything that took place last night? Certainly wasn't your ordinary regular season game.
We had the pleasure of the president came in and said hello to us. So before we went out there and took the field, it was just a great opportunity for us to say hello to the president.
Was the president under that jacket, was he wearing a Staying Hot t-shirt? Because you know how Darryl likes to peddle the merchandise. You could just imagine that President Bush was just wearing that Staying Hot shirt throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, if Darryl got him one, I'm sure he wore it. So I know Bone had those types of connections, so I'm sure he had one of those under that jacket. You can guarantee it.
I gave it to the Secret Service guy.
There you go.
There you go, man.
I'm working it.
Tune in to Staying Hot weekdays from 3 until 6 in the evening Eastern Time. This is MLB Radio.
Hey MLB fans, only MLB.com takes you straight from the ballpark to your computer. The game's never over when you log on to MLB.com. Your destination for live Major League Baseball games online. Watch and listen to live games with MLB.tv and MLB.com Game Day Audio. Follow Stats Live with the unique real-time feature MLB.com Game Day. For fans who just can't get enough of the game, MLB.com, the #1 site for Major League Baseball fans, where baseball is always on.
We go to the top of the 5th. Seattle trails Oakland 1-0. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton.
More fun than we're having.
It'll be Eric Chavez, Scott Hatteberg, and Bobby Kelty to lead things off here in the 5th.
You know, it's always funny when you see guys in the league who you hadn't seen in a long time. Your first impression is the last time I guess you saw them. And when I was in the Mariners clubhouse, Jeff Nelson. I hadn't seen him in so long.
Chavez gives this one a ride to right. Ichiro, it's past him, it'll bounce off the wall. Chavez will coast into second base with a double. That ball hit extremely hard, kind of caught Ichiro off guard.
I think he was surprised that it turned on him like that. You know, when you have a left-hander at the plate and hit a line drive over the right field, it has a tendency to tail on you a little bit. And I think he went after that ball thinking it was going to go straight to him, kind of got over his head. Hit it good enough to get a double.
So the leadoff man in scoring position in Chavez, and that'll bring up Hatteberg, who singled his last time up, 1 for 2 on the afternoon.
But seeing Jeff Nelson, God, I used to hate hitting off him.
1-0, the Oakland A's lead the Seattle Mariners. We're in the top of the 5th. It's ball 1 to Hatteberg.
And myself being a left-handed hitter, I mean, I had a break not having to get on the right side against that guy.
You saw him, well, with the Mets, right, when he was with the Yankees?
Actually, I saw him when he was with the Mariners the first time.
When you were in Texas?
Yes.
Yep. That was my second guess.
Good job.
I didn't realize we were going chronological order.
Who said you don't prepare? Very good.
The rumors are not true.
Most of them are.
1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch is outside, ball 2-1.
Now, being a DH, and Hattiesburg is that today, I mean, you almost just want to get on top of the plate and try your best to turn on a pitch. I mean, you don't get too many opportunities to do something like this. With a man at second, nobody out, your goal is to get him to third or get him in any way you can.
And the pitch now high, ball 3, 3 balls and a strike.
And this is straight dead red. I mean, you're looking to turn on something right now.
Beltre backing up a bit over at third. The 3-1. Line shot over Sexton's glove into right field. That's a base hit. Chavez had to wait. He goes to third now. Richie Sexton is a tall dude.
He is, but he's not tall enough to get that one. I mean, there's no way in hell that you should be hitting the ball to left field in that situation. And, you know, he got up on the plate, tried his best to turn on it. I mean, he got enough to get it out to Ichiro in right field. But for Mofa, he did his job. Although he didn't get the run in, still first and third, nobody out. Great scoring situation.
That'll bring up Bobby Kelty. The sacrifice fly to right field and walked. Runners at first and third, nobody out. We're in the fifth. Franklin to the belt. And the pitch outside, ball 1. Kelty on that sacrifice fly drove in the game's only run. A's 1-7-0, Mariners 0-2-1. Franklin deals, and it's bounced toward Boone at second. Flips over to short. The relay throw in time gets the double play. Run does score, and the A's now have a 2-0 lead, but you definitely sacrifice the run for a couple of outs here in the fifth.
Yeah, that's not what he wanted to do, but at least it got the run in. I mean, anytime you have a scoring opportunity, you got to find a way to get the run in. And if you have to give up the double play, so be it.
So no RBI for Kelty. And now there's 2 down, nobody on. Back to the full windup for Ryan Franklin, and the pitch is outside to Dan Johnson. Earlier in the broadcast, we were keeping an eye on Franklin's pitch count. He's now up to 78 pitches, as that one is sky to center. Reed fighting the sun, makes the catch. And that will retire the side. So the A's come up with a run here in the fifth, and we are through 4.5. Going to the bottom of the fifth, it's the Oakland A's 2 and Seattle nothing. You're watching MLB TV.
Under the Lights with Casey Stern.
Lyle Overbay against the clock. All right, Lyle, inquiring minds want to know, what does a player like yourself do during a rain delay?
Eat lots of candy and watch other baseball games.
Okay. Other than baseball, because we know you're talented at that, we can see that. But something that we would not know, Brewers fans wouldn't know, a talent of yours.
I sing real good in the shower. Just that, I'll tell you that.
Are you a movie buff? Do you like movies?
I like movies.
Are you caring about the Star Wars movie?
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm not a psycho fan, I guess, but I enjoy those.
All right, so let me ask you this. If Yoda and George Steinbrenner got into a pay-per-view steel cage match, who do you think comes out of there?
Oh, Yoda, definitely.
Against the Clock, Sterno's random thoughts and interaction with you, the listener. Under the Lights, weeknights beginning at 10 Eastern Time, only on MLB Radio.
Why is it when you put a peanut butter sandwich in front of your little one, he or she screams like a banshee because the crust isn't cut off? Or why do teenagers yell across the kitchen at each other like they were at opposite ends of the Grand Canyon? I'll tell you why. At a certain point, all that being told to be quiet in school, be quiet in the car, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, well, it's like a volcano that just needs to erupt. That's where Twins baseball comes in handy, where home runs from guys like Jock Jones get you to stand and scream and yell and nobody shushes you. Try that in a movie theater and you'll be out on your ear. So come down with the whole family and let it all out, because the family that screams longer together grows stronger together. Besides, this is your state, this is your team, and this is Twins territory.
Back to the action here as we go to the bottom of the fifth. Brett Boone will lead things off for Seattle as the 0-1 pitch is low for ball one. 2-0, A's on top. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton here on MLB TV. Also being simulcast on MLB Radio as Boone gives this one a ride to right center field. And Kotze corrals it. One down. Boone now is 0 for 2. Sky to center both times up.
And I think he's definitely feeling the pressure because you can watch him walk into the dugout right now. He's just so down on himself. You wonder if he's going to fight his way out of the slump.
That'll bring up Jeremy Reed. A question was asked to Mike Hargrove yesterday on the status of Brett Boone and whether or not it was a temporary return to Boone to the starting lineup, because the idea was that he played yesterday, but does he automatically just get the position? Hargrove was rather supportive, saying that Brett Boone is their second baseman. Reed bounces it toward short, picked up by Scutaro in time, 2 down.
Well, you got to make a decision and say either we're going to stick with him or we're going to give somebody else another opportunity to go out there and play. And you've come this far with him. I mean, you can argue that he's got Hall of Fame numbers. And a guy who's done as much as he has for this organization, I think he deserves the opportunity to work his way out of the slump.
If he was the only hitter not producing, that might make a difference too.
Sure.
Mike Morse, first pitch swinging, bounces it toward first. Picked up by Johnson. He takes it himself. 3 up, 3 down here in the fifth. To the sixth we go. The score remains Oakland 2 and the Mariners nothing. You're watching MLB.TV.
I managed that AA team in Wichita and saw many of the young players in action. Trust me, this is a fun group to watch. This team will bring a lot of excitement to Kauffman Stadium. And there are many ways you can be a part of the team, from season tickets to exclusive party suites, group events, and more. Call the Royals today for more information. Kansas City is my hometown, and the Royals are our team. Come on out to the ballpark, and remember, it's all about fun.
A lot happens on MLB Radio. Breaking news, top name guests, and plenty of fun. But let's say you missed Billy Sample's latest thoughts on the National League East, or didn't get the Lolo from Darryl Hamilton on Staying Hot. Well, now you can check out the daily archives. Simply navigate to the MLB Radio page on MLB.com and click on Archives in the upper left-hand corner. It's here that you'll get the latest information on the GM Corner, or hear from the feature guest on the Pat Sajak Baseball Hour. All with the click of a button. Miss it the first time around and hit the MLB Radio archives. Yet another feature, MLB Radio.
Bases are loaded. There's a hot shot to 11-year-old right fielder Smith. Smith relays the ball to Baker. Baker fires to Ellis. Ellis to Purdy. Purdy to Stern. And Stern to cut-off man Scott. Now that's
teamwork. Just one lesson kids learn through the Baseball Tomorrow Fund. A partnership between Major League Baseball and its players that connects kids with baseball and softball programs worldwide. To learn more, visit baseballtomorrowfund.com.
All right, back here at Safeco Field, we go to the top of the sixth inning. Ryan Franklin into his sixth inning of work. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton both on MLB TV and MLB Radio. But before we start the action here in the sixth, Darryl, I should tell our listeners on MLB Radio that our broadcast day has come to a close.
Really?
And that for more of this game between the A's and Mariners, log on to MLB TV.
We'll try next time to give Porn Thursday a little bit better recognition.
Understand.
It's a little off today. Sorry, guys.
For those of you who have no idea and you're just watching it on TV, we apologize for everything. But that'll do it for MLB Radio. As we continue here on now MLB TV, we're in the top of the sixth, 2-0 A's. Franklin deals to Mark Ellis, bounces this one toward second. Picked up by Boone, throws over. And there's one down. Ellis was 1 for 2 on the afternoon coming into that at-bat, so he's 1 for 3. That'll bring up Swisher, 1 for 2, singled his last time up. The A's have scattered 7 hits and the 2 runs off Ryan Franklin. And the first pitch misses for ball one. Franklin out of Seminole Junior College in Oklahoma. Same college that Eric Gagne went to. As that one is lined right past Franklin into center field.
Self-defense right there, Ryan Franklin. Watch yourself.
So Swisher now has 2 hits on the afternoon, and that'll bring up Scutaro. Scutaro singled his last time up on the hard hit ball to Beltre that was fielded and would have been close play at first, but the ball got away from the first baseman Richie Sexton, so the error was charged to Beltre as the throw over to first base and Swisher's back. But at the same time, he got the base hit. He also walked.
And it's kind of weird the way this game has gone so far, because really Ryan Franklin's thrown 82 pitches already, and we're in the 6th inning. And yet he's only down to 2 runs.
Been able to pitch out of jams all afternoon. After the game, the Mariners will head south to San Diego for an interleague series against their natural rival, the Padres.
You love that, don't you?
No sarcasm there.
You love that. Interleague play.
Top of the 6th. Skied to left, shallow left in foul territory. Morse calls off everyone else, makes the catch, and there's 2 down. Nice job by Morse there with Beltre right to his left and Wynn coming in from left.
And the sun is playing a big factor out there as well. I mean, he was very smooth on that play, calling off Beltre at third base. Not a bad play by the kid.
So that'll bring up Katse, who singled his first time up. He's 1 for 3. Skied to center, reached on a fielder's choice. Runner leads off first. We have 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. The A's, meanwhile, will travel back home for a weekend series with the Giants in the Battle of the Bay Area.
We'll get about 60,000.
The Coliseum.
Yeah.
In there for a called strike to Katse.
Now, this is a retractable roof, right?
Yes.
Technically, yes.
Technically. It's more like just a protective covering because the stadium doesn't fully enclose when the roof is closed.
Now, who thought that ideal?
Pitch outside for ball 1.
Could I get some heat? Because it get pretty nippy here.
And that is one of the things that is a factor here, especially in the early parts of the season and even later in the year.
Playoff time.
You can close the roof, but you still have to battle the elements. Just not the wet elements. Pitches outside, 2 balls and a strike.
I've got to, it's so easy to say something, but I'm not going to do it. If we're on radio only, I would say something,
Understood.
but it's TV.
It's different.
Yes,
right.
It's totally different.
Understood. The 2-1 is low, and the count goes 3 balls and a strike. Activity starting in the Mariner bullpen. People just starting to walk around there.
I think that's a security guard.
3 balls and a strike.
I think it is. It's a security guard. What are you talking about?
Franklin deals the 3-1. High and deep to right center field. Ichiro calls off Reed, makes the catch, and that will retire the side. No runs, a hit, and a man left. We have played 5.5 here in Seattle. And your score, the A's 2 and the Mariners nothing. You're watching MLB TV.
I'm Derek Jeter. When I was growing up, my parents and I would go to the schoolyard every weekend and play ball. They'd teach me how if I practiced and didn't give up, my swing could get better. That if I got in front of the ball and wasn't afraid, I could stop it. but there weren't any shortcuts to becoming a better player. But if I believed in myself, I could do it. Funny, all that time, I thought they were teaching me how to play baseball.
Helping your kids find a dream can help keep them off drugs. This message brought to you by Partnership for a Drug-Free America. Visit us at drugfreeamerica.org.
Hey fans, balloting has begun for the 2005 Midsummer Classic in Detroit, and it's all online at MLB.com. Vote early and vote often for your hometown heroes or favorite superstars. It's up to you. Be the manager and cast your all-star ballot up to 25 times from the comfort of your living room. Log on to MLB.com and cast your ballot today. And listen to exclusive online coverage of All-Star Weekend on MLB Radio, starting July 8th, live from Comerica Park. MLB.com, where baseball is always on.
Boys and Girls Clubs, Major League Baseball charities, and Dontrell Willis on...
Pay attention, guys. This is key. Now step and then kick your leg up real high. Who's next? Both of you guys can do it at the same time. You guys gloves? You want to use my glove?
He can use mine.
See, that's a great teammate right there. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Everyone has to have mean faces. Mean faces. What's everyone smiling about?
Boys and Girls Clubs and Major League Baseball. Together they create a positive place for kids.
All right, back here on MLB TV, Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton, as we welcome you back to Safeco Field in Seattle. Bottom of the sixth now. It'll be Borders, then the top of the order, and Ichiro, followed by Randy Wynn. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton bringing you this afternoon's MLB TV exclusive. Normally heard Monday through Friday, noon to 3 Pacific time over on MLB Radio. First pitch to Pat Borders is fouled away. Strike one. No balls and a strike. Borders grounded to third his first time up. And the pitch misses, ball one.
The little fake bunt action by Pat Borders. I just want to see him run. That'd be cool. Put a bunt down, Pat, so we can see you run. I'm sorry, Pat cannot run out of sight in a week.
The 1-1. Bounce toward third. Fair ball. Chavez in the hole. Not in time. You ask Borders to run, and he does.
Chavez made a great play backhanding that ball, going all the way out in foul territory. But I talked about Borders running. He got down the line. He's running like he stole something right there. Not bad.
What else do you ask for?
I asked for a quick game.
That'll bring up Ichiro now. And the lead runner, Pat Borders, over at first base, legging out the infield hit. Really hit it to the only spot where Chavez couldn't make a play on Pat Borders. Here's Ichiro, 0 for 2. Grounded out both times. Went the opposite way, once to short, once to third.
And, you know, a lot of people say that when you fake a bunt, it really doesn't have an effect on the infield. But I think it does because of the fact that Chavez came in a little bit, a couple steps. I think that forced him to not make that play. The speed guys always love doing that, showing the fake bunt to get that third baseman and get that first baseman to play
just
up a little bit.
Get in their head.
Yeah, to scoot it by him if they can. You know, Ichiro does that all the time. And he slaps that ball over the third baseman's head every chance he gets.
1-1. Bounce towards Chavez at third. They go over to second for one. The relay throw is not in time. So Ichiro manages to reach on the fielder's choice. And now you have a totally different runner at first base.
I tell you what, that's amazing. That's how fast Ichiro is on the base paths, because that was a classic double play ball. And, I mean, he didn't look like he turned it on until he got halfway down the line, and he beat that by a step.
So the fielder's choice goes 5-4. Nice turn by the second baseman, Mark Ellis.
It was. He did everything right in that play.
Here's Randy Wynn now, as Sarloos is going to pay attention to Ichiro. That's just the 78th pitch for Kirk Sarloos through 6. We're actually into the 6th. The pitch low, and it's ball one.
And I think, with Ichiro not hitting like he's capable of hitting over the past few years, struggling a little bit under 300. That forces him, when he gets on base, to try to get something else going and stealing more bases. 16 on the year, thrown out 4 times.
Swung on and missed, strike 1. Crowd hasn't had much to cheer about this afternoon. Rather quiet, but a rather full attendance here.
But the Seth Everett fan club has been going nuts so far.
Well,
I'm amazed, dude. I am very impressed with you.
Can you blame them?
Really, I can. Really, I can.
2 balls and a strike to Randy Wynn. It's been a while since I've been here. It was the 2001 playoffs, the series they lost to the Yankees.
Last time they really had a good team, right?
That was the year they won the 116.
And if you could not tell, you just look at the banner here.
Because they tell you.
They tell you on the banner. We won the West with 116 wins.
Yep. And we've talked on the radio show about that team, as it's 2-2 to Randy Wynn. Bouncer back to Sarlus. They flip to short. Scudero fields it. They get the lead runner. Not going to catch Randy Wynn. That ball kind of knuckled on Sarlus. He had to come in on the ball. That extra step gets Randy Wynn safe.
Surprised he went to second base with that throw, but, I think it was hit hard enough to get Ichiro at second.
So another fielder's choice. Scored that one 1-6. But we were talking about the differences in teams. And remember we were talking earlier on the radio show about the White Sox and how the White Sox have this huge lead. And you compare them to the 2004 Cardinals and how the White Sox have that number one dominant type pitcher in Burley in the Central as it's strike 1 to Beltre. Well, if you look at this Seattle club, in 2001, there really wasn't that one guy that outmatched a top-quality pitcher that the Yankees had, even though the Yankees didn't have the same kind of record and probably didn't even have the same kind of ball club.
And the funny thing about that, I think everyone knew that. Right. Because you saw the number of wins that the Mariners had, but yet you didn't feel like it was a team that was going to win it all. And 116 wins. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, any other year when a team does that, you're expecting them to win it all.
The 0-2 slap foul. Wynn stays alive.
And I think the record, if I'm not mistaken, the Yankees won, 115 or 14?
114. You're talking about the 98 Yankees.
Right,
yeah.
right. But you felt that the 98 Yankee ball club was going to beat everybody in the playoffs. You knew they were going to sweep the Padres when they got in the World Series.
And stepping into Yankee Stadium, as we've been known to do this year from time to time.
Sure.
The pitch is low, ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Yankees look at that season, they say, well, sure, the Mariners won 116 regular season games, but the Yankees, if you count all their playoff victories, actually won 125 games that season.
What a dominating ball club that was, too. That's the difference between a team that you know you're going to lose to and the Yankee team now.
Beltre gives this one a ride to deep left field, but it will stay in the ballpark. Kelty makes the catch in front of the warning track, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. We have played 6 full here in Safeco Field. And after 6, it's the A's 2 and the Mariners nothing. You're watching MLB TV.
Grinder baseball rule number 1. Win or die trying. Not a complicated rule, but a basic one. It's simple. You go out there and grind out a win every day. And if you can't win every game, well, then all we ask is that you die trying. Demanding, yes. Tough, absolutely. Required for hard-nosed team baseball, you betcha. You see Chicago White Sox players, coaches, front office, hot dog vendors, parking lot attendants, and especially fans hate losing. You know what I'm talking about the kind of hate reserved for those impossible, twisty ties that hold new toys in their boxes. That's why we play by a certain set of rules, like never walk even when you walk. That's rule number 37, advance the runner at all costs. Rule 62, never be late for the national anthem no matter what nation you're from. Rule 18, no boy band music in the clubhouse. Okay, that's my rule. But fans deserve a team relentlessly focused on winning, doing whatever it takes to win. That's what being a grinder is all about. Win or die trying. Yeah, that's Sox rule number 1. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit WhiteSox.com. The 2005 White Sox, presented by U.S. Cellular.
Log on to the MLB.com shop for all your baseball gear. Our featured item is the Stan Hot Baby Doll Tee, perfect for going to the ballpark and showing everyone what your favorite baseball show is. The Stan Hot with Seth and Bone Baby Doll Tee is 100% pre-shrunk cotton. Available in small, medium, large, and extra large, it can be yours for only $19.95. I have mine on right now. So don't miss out. Log on the MLB.com shop, the official store for Major League Baseball.
All right, back here, top 7. The A's and Mariners. As we roll on here, Ryan Franklin going into his 7th inning of work. 2-8-0 for the Oakland A's. 0-3-1 for the Seattle Mariners. Franklin starts off to Jason Kendall with a called strike 1. Kendall was hit by a pitch in the first inning, then bounced to first and fly to right. Slow roller to Boone, and Jason Kendall's 0 for 3.
And I know I made a stink about the fact that Ryan Franklin's thrown a lot of pitches early on. He's starting to settle down a little bit. Now he's up to 91 pitches. And I guess American League game, that's kind of normal. 91 pitches in the 7th inning. 6 1/3 so far.
He had potential big innings.
Sure.
In the 5th, got out of it with a double play. You think about the 3rd inning, where he had a couple on with less than 2 out. Chavez fouls this one to the right side. Eric Chavez on the day is doubled and scored and walked and scored. "11 home runs leads the team, whereas 11 home runs for Eric Chavez isn't necessarily a down year for Chavez. Maybe the average is lower than he would like.
Sure.
But unfortunately, then you start to think about the other offensive performers that aren't here.
But you know something, he's never really got off to a good start. And I think when you sign a big deal, obviously the microscope is on you to do a little bit better.
Line into left, that's a base hit for Chavez, so he has his 2nd hit of the day. And that'll bring up Hatteberg.
I think it's more focus on him now in Oakland because the big players are gone to other ball clubs. You know, he signs a big deal. You expect him to be an all-star after that. It hadn't worked out yet, but at the end of the year, let's look at his numbers because he, like I said earlier, he's a slow starter. Usually ends up with 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. He'll probably do it again this year.
So the pitch to Hatteberg is outside for ball 1. Scott's got a couple of base hits on the day, 2 for 3, a couple of singles to right, also hit into a double play. We're glad you can join us here for an MLB TV exclusive. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton, normally heard Monday through Friday, noon to 3 Pacific time, over on MLB Radio. For more information, you can log on to MLBradio.net. Which we will be doing that radio show tomorrow. Or at least that's the plan, from here.
Yeah, by ourselves, though.
That's right. The team will be in San Diego. Hatteberg gives this one a ride, right center field, and that will fall on the warning track, roll all the way to the wall. Hatteberg coasts into second. They're going to try to wave Chavez home. Boone couldn't relay the throw back to the infield, and it's a 3-0 A's lead.
Well, Hatteberg got a good pitch to turn on, hit it in the gap, and I think when he initially hit, Ichiro didn't think that ball was hit that hard. Kind of, I don't know if he's pacing himself or whatever, but he didn't look like he was going all out. So I thought he thought he probably had a beat on it. Ball was hit a lot harder than what he expected.
That'll bring up Brian Price to the mound to talk to Ryan Franklin as the RBI double for Scott Hatteberg puts the A's on top 3-0. That's the 10th base hit off Franklin today.
And Franklin's been on the rope most of the game. Just hadn't the A's hadn't closed the deal on him yet. Looks like this could be an opportunity for them to get a big inning.
The home plate umpire, Tim Welke, is going to try to break up that conversation.
Now activity in the bullpen. You want to take that one?
Security guard in hand. Shigetoshi Hasegawa.
Shigetoshi Hasegawa. Very nice. I'll let you play with that one.
Hasegawa, the former then Anaheim Angel. Well, just using an excuse to say that.
Yeah.
Hasegawa warming up in the bullpen for Seattle. 3-0 A's on top. They're looking to build on that lead. Kelty at the plate, and the first pitch is taken for a called strike one. Mariners winners of the American League West 3 times in their history. And, of course, this marks the 10th anniversary of the first time they had ever seen the postseason. The 1995 Mariner club that went to the playoffs on the final day of the season on the one-game playoff with the California Angels.
Oh, that was just wrong.
The 0-2 to Kelty misses, and it's 1-2.
I mean, that's every player's nightmare, what went on with the Angels that year. You know, you've got about a 10-game lead going in August, and you lose it. Then have to get a one-game playoff and lose that.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3. That is just the first strikeout of the game for Ryan Franklin. That'll bring up Dan Johnson, who's 0 for 3 on the afternoon. And then, of course, the team won in 97. The farthest this Mariner ball club has ever gone is the American League Championship Series, including a wild card win in 2000. But never getting that elusive American League pennant. And I know we were kidding earlier in the broadcast about hanging banners for these divisional championships. When you're a franchise that wants to honor your history, it's swung on and missed.
Right.
And you don't have, the kind of history that a Red Sox franchise or a Cubs franchise or one of the teams that have been around for 100 years and have been to the World Series a bunch of times. I don't know. I have less of a problem with it. I just think the banners are kind of big, so when they win the World Series, how big do you have to make that banner?
Well, I think you're talking about ball clubs that came on as expansion teams. I mean, it's a little different cookie when you're talking about teams like that compared to, the Yankees or someone in that situation.
1-1 pitch to Johnson is in there for a called strike 2.
I mean, they argue in New York about putting up banners when they win the World Championship and don't, win 140 games.
Franklin to the belt. 2 outs here as that one checked his swing back toward the on-deck circle. Mark Ellis looking for cover.
I think for teams that have initially were expansion ball clubs, if you win a division, you should honor that, and you should try to, win championship, obviously World Championships. If that happens and you can win a few here and there, then you take those banners down and start replacing them with World Championship banners.
The 1-2 pitch from Franklin. Borders protects it. And the runner at second, Hatteberg, thought about going, but then thought otherwise. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. We're in the top of the 7th inning. A's already have a run in. And the pitch is lined over the shortstop's glove into left field. That's a base hit. Hatteberg rounds. He will score. It's a 4-0 A's lead as they are starting to build, and here comes Mark Hargrove.
Yeah, I think Franklin's been on the ropes all day long. I mean, he's thrown a lot of pitches. He's got out of some key situation with some clutch pitching at times, but for the most part, when your team's not hitting, and the Mariners only have 3 hits so far this game, you got to bear down and find a way to keep them in the game. And this is the inning that the A's have finally broke out of it. They've gotten runners in scoring position and finally taken advantage of it.
So that'll do it for Ryan Franklin. He battled through 6 2/3, gives up 4 runs, 3 of them earned.
He battled.
And he 11 hits. That is the way the cookie crumbles. We'll continue here as the pitching change is being made. We'll take a quick timeout. Back to Safeco Field. It's the A's 4 and the Mariners nothing. And this is MLB TV.
Did you ever want to know more about your favorite players? Well, now it's possible with the new interview show called Players Talk on MLB Radio and MLBplayers.com. Hear what White Sox first baseman Paul Konerko thinks separates this year's squad from recent ones.
I think the main thing is we made some nice moves with some of the position players, but in the end, I think the bullpen moves we made and getting El Duque, Orlando Hernandez in here, I think those will be, in the end, what makes us be winners, because I think the pitching staff is so important. And our bullpen right now, we get some arms down there, guys who are proven guys that have pitched out of the bullpen with proven numbers. And, when you get in these tight ball games, that usually winds up being the difference. We have guys that can hit, but, the theory is we probably won't need as much offense because our pitching is holding down the other team from scoring runs.
Listen to Players Talk, presented by MLBplayers.com and the Players Trust, featuring the most in-depth interviews around. Only on MLB Radio and MLBplayers.com.
I hit .272 over a 9-year career in the major leagues. I grew up in Western Virginia. That's Western Virginia, not West Virginia. I played my college ball at James Madison. I singled on my first major league pitch with Texas, only to be pinch run 4 moments later. I was 5th in the league in stolen bases in 1983, and before that I was 4th in the league in hit by pitches in 1981, and some of those pitches hurt. Who am I? I'm Billy Sample, and I'm dropping some bat head.
Billy Sample. In-depth analysis, funny commentary, and knowledge of the game. Heard only on MLB.com radio.
All right, back here, Shigetoshi Hasegawa working to Mark Ellis, and the first pitch from Hasegawa is a ball. Shigetoshi Hasegawa scored upon 7 times in 22 games, but scored on only twice in his first 11 outings. As he comes in to relieve Ryan Franklin. And the pitch in there for a called strike 1. Of the 22 appearances for Hasegawa, he has retired the first batter he faced 16 times. And it will remain there as that's a line drive to left field. It'll fall in for a base hit. Mark Ellis with a single. That'll move Johnson to second, and the rally continues for the A's.
Now, we seem to have finally woken up the Oakland A's. I mean, we talked about it before the game, how their struggles scoring runs, certain situations. And it was like that early on in this game, but now in the 7th inning, it seems like it's time to score runs.
That's the 12th base hit of the afternoon for Oakland. And that brings up Swisher, who's got 2 hits on the day. He's 2 for 3. Runners at first and second. We have 2 outs, and we're in the 7th.
And from a hitter's point of view, this is a great time to hit because it seems like there's always the old saying, hitting is contagion. It's very true. Finally, you break it open. Got guys coming to play, taking good at bats. You want to do the same.
The pitch low, ball 1, one ball and 1 strike.
And you can't really judge how good this A's team can be because, obviously the Mariners are struggling as well. Just don't get an idea of which team has a good future ahead of them.
Lined in the right center field gap. That'll fall in for a base hit. Johnson rounds third. He will score. It's a 5-0 ball game and an RBI single for Nick Swisher.
Kind of left it over the plate again. I mean, it seems like guys are now figuring out what to do when they go up there. Not taking any pitches, anything close, you're taking a hack. They're starting to turn on a lot of pitches now.
On the play, Ellis goes to third, so it's first and third. Hasegawa not able to retire anybody so far.
And Swisher is having a day.
Make that 3 for 4 with an RBI for Nick Swisher. You can see the Amazon.com sales of Moneyball going skyrocketing as we speak. I heard those guys on MLB TV. They were talking about this kid. I got to find out.
The on-base percentage is unbelievable. It helps that ball club win.
Wait a second. Let me compute that. 5-0. A's on top of Seattle. A's looking to take 3 of 4 in this series. And we're within an inning of sweeping this Seattle ball club. They had a 3-1 lead in the 9th inning last night, only to see the Mariners come back on them twice. They'd also scored in the top of the 12th inning, only to see the Mariners come back and actually win the game in walk-off fashion last night. That's the only victory for Seattle in this series. The A's do not return to Safeco Field after today until the final weekend of the season.
It's kind of weird the way the schedule is set up.
But next week, these two teams and the same pitching matchup. I believe it's Tuesday night, as there'll be a 3-game series in Oakland. Pitch outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We have 2 outs to Marco Scutaro.
Be interesting to see next week how these teams fare against one another. You only have the same pitching matchups. You wonder who's going to make the adjustment and who's not. Hitter's got to make an adjustment in this.
The 1-2 on the outside, part of the plate, strike 3. So Hasegawa gets that elusive third out. And as we go to the bottom of the 7th, the A's put up a 3 spot here. And as we go to the bottom 7, it's Oakland 5 and Seattle nothing. You're watching MLB TV.
This is Mike Timlin of the Boston Red Sox. Check me out every other week on MLB Radio with Billy Sample and Brian McRae as I talk Sox.
And the Boston Red Sox are the world champions. Can you believe it?
Get the inside track as we try to defend our World Series trophy throughout the 2005 season by emailing me at radio@mlb.com.
No one covers the game like us. This is MLB Radio.
Boys and Girls Clubs, Major League Baseball charities, and Al Leiter on
If you guys are going to play this game, you have to stay in shape, especially you older guys. How old are you?
I'm only 8.
Let's go. Jumper jacks.
1, 2, 3.
And stop. Now everybody start hopping.
Look at me.
It's a very important stretch. Faster. Feel it? Woo! Let's go.
Boys and Girls Clubs and Major League Baseball. Together they create a positive place for kids.
Your grandparents came here.
The long drive going, and it's a home run for Joe DiMaggio.
Your parents came here.
Here comes Roger Maris in to score, and Cepeda pulling the second with a double.
Now it's your turn.
It's gone, and Robin Yount has hit successive home runs off Jim
Cooperstown, New York, a tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888-Hall of Fame.
All right, back here at Safeco Field. Just remember you can log on to MLBradio.net for more information. And if you think the banter has been witty, you should check us out between noon and 3 Pacific time for Staying Hot with Seth and Bone over on MLB Radio. Richie Sexson leads things off here in the bottom of the 7th inning, as now it's a 5-0 ball game. Kirk Saarloos has been brilliant, scattering just 3 hits over the first 6. Sexson has struck out twice, once swinging, one called. He cuts on and misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I tell you, saying he was brilliant would be an understatement. I mean, we talked about it earlier. If he can keep them all, with all-speed pitches, kind of move the ball around the plate, get guys guessing up there, and he's been doing that all day, only giving up 3 hits.
Kirk Saarloos, his first game of the season was at Camden Yards when he blanked the Baltimore Orioles. Guy was rather highly rated in the Houston system. Was traded for Chad Harville from the Astros. Sexton swings and misses at strike 3. And it'll bring up Ibanez.
He struck out about an hour ago, huh? Am I missing that or what? We're not on radio. We're on TV. They see that.
But they knew that then.
Yeah, well, still.
That was a foul ball.
There you go. Good job. Good job. You got to change it up a little bit. They can see us now. You can't make it up as we go.
Really? I don't think they can see me now. 1-1 pitch. Outside, ball 2, 2-1. Ibanez 0 for 2, struck out in the fourth, fly to right. Back in the second. 5-13-0 for Oakland, 0-3-1 for Seattle. This one is sliced foul, and the count evens up 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And I know last night the Mariners came back in a situation where everyone thought they were done to win a ball game, but it's still frustrating the fact that their hitting has not come around yet. Only 3 hits today so far.
Swung on a miss, strike 3. So Sarlus showing no signs of tiring. That was pitch number 97 on the afternoon for Kirk Sarlos. He struck out the first 2 here in the 7th.
And Sarlos is
6th strikeout overall. Sorry, Darryl.
Sarlos is a good pitcher. I'm not taking that away from him, but he's not a great pitcher. And for him to come in here today and throw the way he's been throwing, I mean, he's hitting his spots. There's no doubt about that. But the fact that the Mariners are struggling so bad at the plate kind of helps out a little bit.
Brett Boone is 0 for 2. Fly to center both times. The average down to 225. Just 5 home runs on the season so far.
But you want to know the one thing as a hitter that you don't want to do when you come to the plate and you're struggling is look up at that big board and see 225.
Cut on and missed.
I mean, you're not
2 balls, 1 strike.
If you get a base hit, it's not going to go up to 300. So don't get so antsy to the point where you want to change things right away. I mean, a hit here, a hit there helps out a whole lot in the long run.
Pitch outside, ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike to Brett Boone.
And if you can take a walk, that's a start as well.
Working extensively with hitting coach Don Baylor. Baylor in his first year with the Mariners. He gives this one a ride to left, fairly deep. Back at the warning track is Kelty, and he makes the catch. Boone gave that one a ride, but it didn't have the distance. We have played 7 here at Safeco Field, and your score, the A's 5 and the Mariners nothing. You're watching MLB TV. A lot happens on MLB Radio. Breaking news, top name guests, and plenty of fun. But let's say you missed Billy Sample's latest thoughts on the National League East, or didn't get the Lolo from Darryl Hamilton on Staying Hot. Well, now you can check out the daily archives. Simply navigate to the MLB Radio page on MLB.com and click on Archives in the upper left-hand corner. It's here that you'll get the latest information on the GM Corner, or hear from the feature guest on the Pat Sajak Baseball Hour, all with the click of a button. Miss it the first time around and hit the MLB Radio archives. Yet another feature, MLB Radio.
The following is a public service announcement for Staying Hot with approval from the MLB Radio Council. This is your brain.
This party is such a drag.
This is your brain while staying hot. In order to stay hot with more of the latter, I fully encourage daily listening to Staying Hot. Surgeon General's findings suggest that kids who listen to Staying Hot are 100% more likely to lead positive, healthy lives and are equally as likely to ask their mother, Mama, what is a badonkadonk? Scientific research has also shown that those who listen to Staying Hot are more likely to have higher self-esteem due to the thank God I'm not that guy effect. No Mets fans were hurt in the recording of this message. I am the winner of the 2005 MLB Radio casting call, and I might very well be wearing my John Smoltz Atlanta Braves jersey while you're hearing this. I am Chris from Alabama, and I approve this message.
Staying Hot with Seth and Bone, weekdays from 3 until 6 in the afternoon Eastern Time.
No one covers the game like us. This is MLB Radio.
Paid for by the Ad Council for keeping the hex on.
All right, back here at Safeco Field. The A's have a 5-0 lead, a bit more comfortable in this after a 3-run 7th inning. They'll send the top of the order, Katse, Kendall, and Chavez to the plate to face Shigetoshi Hasegawa. First pitch swinging for Katse, bounces it to Brett Boone, and quickly there's 1 down. Katse has gone 1 for 5 so far this afternoon. Jason Kendall hit by a pitch in the first, then bounced to the pitcher, bounced to second, and fly to right.
I've always wondered if Jason Kendall can get back to his form when he was in Pittsburgh, when he was a guy who constantly was on base, hit about 320, 325 every year, stole bases, scored a lot of runs. Seems like that injury he had a few years ago, really hadn't got back to that form yet.
That and the big contract, because he signed that big contract and suddenly he became one of the reasons why the Pirates couldn't do anything in a particular offseason. So he was a scapegoat. And look, it's not his fault. The Pirates are giving him that kind of money.
It's so funny when teams give a player a large contract, it's all of a sudden the player's fault for signing the deal. And if things don't work out with them making trades, it's always put on the player.
The 1-2 pitch. He reaches out and gets that one and lofts it into center field. There's a base hit.
Well, he's getting back to his old form. Kind of flaring it out to center field. Not a bad pitch. I mean, a little cutter away. Kind of stuck the bat out there and poked it into center field.
14th base hit for the A's. No balls have left the yard here at Safeco Field. And the one thing about this park that a lot of people have said, and it continues to be a pitcher's park, not that home runs aren't hit here, but they're not hit in bunches like you would see some of the other new stadiums.
Right. Well, it's no Kingdome, that's for sure.
No.
Because that ball was flying out of that joint.
There's a lot of people who miss that place.
1 or 2.
1-0 pitch. Misses, and it's 2-0. Weird perspective sitting here at Safeco Field, because when this park opened in 1999, if you looked over the left field bleachers, you saw the Kingdome. You'd see the roof of it. Now you see the new Seattle Seahawks Stadium. Adds a different dimension to the ballpark here.
Sure. Again,
2 balls and a strike.
I hadn't been here in years, and they really did a great job with this area.
2 balls and a strike. Cut on and missed. Strike 2. Chavez got the average up to 261. He's got a couple of base hits today. He's 2 for 3 with a walk, a single and a double. And he scored 2. I'll check that, make that 3. But he does look at strike 3 right there from Hasegawa.
There's always a couple players that you have trouble late innings facing. And from Chavez's point of view, I mean, he really didn't have a good beat on any of the pitchers that were coming across the plate.
So that'll bring up Hatteberg. Scott's had himself quite a day. 3 hits already, 2 singles and a double, an RBI and a run scored. And this one's hit between first and second into right field. That's a base hit for Hatteberg, a 4-hit afternoon for Scott.
Well, the advantage of a first baseman holding a runner on base. I mean, Sexton held a runner on, which he's supposed to do in that situation, and basically just poked it, seeing base hit to right field.
It's been the story of the A's offense. There's just been a lot of nickel and dime base hits, a double here, advancing a runner. Really hasn't been an offensive explosion, and except for maybe the 3-run 7th, really hasn't been a huge inning where things are getting out of hand.
Well, they don't have the firepower they had in the past, and we've talked about that a number of times today.
Kelty gives that one a ride. Straightaway center field. Reed at the warning track. He makes the catch. Deepest part of the ballpark, 405, straightaway center field. And that ball ran out of room. 405 to straightaway. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the A's 5 and Seattle nothing. You're watching MLB TV. A lot happens on MLB Radio. Breaking news, top name guests, and plenty of fun. But let's say you missed Billy Sample's latest thoughts on the National League East, or didn't get the Lolo from Darryl Hamilton on Staying Hot. Well, now you can check out the daily archives. Simply navigate to the MLB Radio page on MLB.com and click on Archives in the upper left-hand corner. It's here that you'll get the latest information on the GM Corner, or hear from the feature guest on the Pat Sajak Baseball Hour. All with the click of a button. Miss it the first time around and hit the MLB Radio archives. Yet another feature, MLB Radio.
The following is a public service announcement for Staying Hot with approval from the MLB Radio Council. This is your brain.
This party is such a drag.
This is your brain while staying hot. In order to stay hot with more of the latter, I fully encourage daily listening to Staying Hot. Surgeon General's findings suggest that kids who listen to Staying Hot are 100% more likely to lead positive, healthy lives and are equally as likely to ask their mother, Mama, what is a badonkadonk? Scientific research has also shown that those who listen to Staying Hot are more likely to have higher self-esteem due to the thank God I'm not that guy effect. No Mets fans were hurt in the recording of this message. I am the winner of the 2005 MLB radio casting call, and I might very well be wearing my John Smoltz Atlanta Braves jersey while you're hearing this. I am Chris from Alabama, and I approve this message.
Staying Hot with Seth and Bone, weekdays from 3 until 6 in the afternoon Eastern Time.
No one covers the game like us. This is MLB Radio.
Paid for by the Ad Council for keeping the hex on.
We go to the bottom of the 8th inning as the Mariners are suddenly short on time, 6 outs away from the Oakland A's coming up with 3 out of 4 in this series.
What's the old saying? How many times you see a guy make a great play? What does he do?
Jeremy Reed leading off the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be 7, 8, 9, Reed, Morse, and Borders to face Kirk Saarloos, who has been the story so far. 5-0, he has the lead. Reed slaps that one foul. You mentioned the great catch by Jeremy Reed in center field. He had the earlier diving catch in right center field. Covered a lot of ground. The 1-1 is slapped into left field. That's a base hit for Reed.
Wow, doing it in the field and at the plate. Not bad.
Second hit of the afternoon. He was 1 for 2. He had a double in the second inning. That's his second base hit of the afternoon. Mike Morse now at the plate.
I think when you're struggling at the plate, as the Mariners have been in this game, you have a tendency to go up there and try to do things you shouldn't, which is pull the ball or get out of your element, so to speak. Reed did a good job of going with that pitch and soft serving it to left field.
Pitch inside to Morse, who's 0 for 2. Morse, a Plantation, Florida native. And actually, when he was coming up and had just been drafted by the White Sox, because he came up in that organization, as that's a line shot right at the shortstop, Scudero. They throw across, and Reed scampers back to first base.
Well, you got to take one at bat at a time. And what I mean by that is, not looking at the scoreboard. They know they're down 5 runs. Try to go up there and have a good at-bat each time up. Morse did a good job hitting it on the nose. Grabbed the shortstop, Scudero.
Anyway, in the Florida native, when he was in the process of being drafted by the White Sox, got a chance to meet Alex Rodriguez. And the meeting actually influenced Morse a great deal. And he models his style after the former Seattle, current New York Yankee, third baseman, but a guy who was a fixture here in this franchise, and now he's trying to make a similar quest for his career. Sky to center, Borders, as Kotsay comes in, makes the catch, and there's now 2 down. Last 2 hitters, Darryl, have hit the ball hard, but right at people.
Well, he's up to 109 pitches now, but yet he's still very effective. What most pitchers try to do is let the hitter get themselves out. And what I mean by that, you put them in a spot to where the hitter makes a mistake and beats the ball on the ground or hit it somewhere where someone's playing right at it. He's been doing that most of the night. It's been working out well for him.
That ball ruled foul if it went off Ichiro, so it's strike 1.
I always love talking to starting pitchers who are very successful in kind of manipulating getting hitters out. Not necessarily throwing hard, throwing 95 or anything like that, but basically putting it in a spot where the hitter makes a mistake and gets themselves out.
Ichiro bounces it towards second. Ellis flips over to short. Scudero covering, and that retires the side. Ichiro on the afternoon is 0 for 4.
Wow.
Not something you see every day. We go to the 9th as the A's continue to lead 5-0. Oakland on top. This is MLB TV.
This is Staying Hot.
shortstop from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Royce Clayton. What was your impression of everything that took place last night? Certainly wasn't your ordinary regular season game.
We had the pleasure of the president came in and said hello to us. So before we went out there and took the field, it was just a great opportunity for us to say hello to the president.
Was the president under that jacket? Was he wearing a Staying Hot T-shirt? Because you know how Darryl likes to peddle the merchandise. You could just imagine that President Bush was just wearing that Staying Hot shirt throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, if Darryl got him one, I'm sure he wore it. So I know Bone has those types of connections, so I'm sure he had one of those under that jacket. You can guarantee it.
I gave it to the Secret Service guy.
There you go.
There you go, man.
I'm working it.
Tune in to Staying Hot weekdays from 3 until 6 in the evening Eastern Time. This is MLB Radio.
Hey MLB fans, only MLB.com takes you straight from the ballpark to your computer. The game's never over when you log on to MLB.com. Your destination for live Major League Baseball games online. Watch and listen to live games with MLB.tv and MLB.com Game Day Audio. Follow Stats Live with the unique real-time feature MLB.com Game Day. For fans who just can't get enough of the game, MLB.com, the #1 site for Major League Baseball fans, where baseball is always on.
We go to the ninth as Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton bringing MLB TV's coverage of the A's and Mariners. In the ninth inning, it'll be Dan Johnson leading things off, followed by Ellis and Swisher, as the A's will face Shigetoshi Hasegawa, who's now working in his third inning. He retired the last out of the seventh inning. That was a 3-run inning that gave the A's this cushion, pitched a scoreless eighth, and now he's in the ninth. And the second pitch by Johnson, line to right field, and a leadoff single for Dan Johnson. That's his second hit of the afternoon.
Looking at the scoreboard, how about the Dodgers? 4-3 win in San Diego. Desperately needed that win.
Yeah.
Mets beating the Phillies 4-3. Cubs losing to the Brew Crew 8-7. Minnesota defeating Detroit 6-2.
Here's Ellis now. A couple of base hits for him. 16 hits throughout the starting 9 for the Oakland A's. As the pitch line foul. No balls and 1 strike. Mark Ellis from Rapid City, South Dakota.
How do you know that? You that good?
I went to visit.
Sure you did. Sitting near Effingham, Illinois.
Or Sheboygan, Wisconsin. All right, who had the ninth inning in the pool? On when those words would hit the broadcast. Sky to right field. Ichiro moves to his right, makes the catch. 1 down. Mariners have been a streaky team. 6 games under 500. So you see that there's been some success. The A's have had a much tougher go of it in the early going here in the season. With about 85, 90 games left. Oakland still trying to get out of the cellar, making a big statement, taking 3 of 4 from Seattle and almost swept them.
Being only 6 games under, I mean, that's not a bad situation in this part of the season. But, I mean, it just looks so much worse, I guess, in the sense that they're not playing good baseball at all. I mean, they got guys who normally produce year in, year out, are struggling this year.
If you get MVP-type seasons from Boone and Beltre,
right,
this team's at least at 500, if not above.
But you could say that pretty much with any ball club. You've got to have at least,
but
in my opinion.
Superstars.
Right, the superstars, right, okay. But you got to have at least 4 or 5 guys who have career years. But the superstars are the guys who you usually depend on. You know they're going to do that. And they're paid for that.
The weak link for Seattle, as that pitch is low, ball 3-1, should be that the starting rotation is average or above average. And that should be the biggest problem. the biggest problem for Seattle should not be that the position players aren't getting the job done, because there is not a position. And again, injuries have played a factor here. The catcher's not the everyday catcher. There have been some issues at shortstop, but the bottom line for this franchise is that one is skied up in the infield. Boone, fighting the sun, makes the catch, 2 down. But Seattle's quest to, for example, make 2005 a pennant run, the bottom line is that even if Boone and Beltre are hitting, they might be a pitcher or two short. But that hasn't been the issue, so that hasn't been a problem.
Right. Well, you would always expect, like we said, the superstars to come through. And you look at this team, and if that was the case, we wouldn't be talking so much about their pitching.
True. Pitch to Scutero is inside for a ball.
And if you look at their everyday players, I mean, they've got some good players. There's no doubt about it.
Line shot toward Beltre, who fields it. Quick reflexes for Beltre. Throws across the diamond, and it's in time. So after a leadoff single, Hasegawa retires the side. And as we'll go to the bottom of the ninth, last chance for Seattle. They trail 5-0. This is MLB TV.
Under the Lights with Casey Stern.
Lyle Overbay against the clock. All right, Lyle, inquiring minds want to know, what does a player like yourself do during a rain delay?
Eat lots of candy and watch other baseball games.
Okay. Other than baseball, because we know you're talented at that, we can see that. But something that we would not know, Brewers fans wouldn't know, a talent of yours.
I sing real good in the shower. I'll tell you that.
Are you a movie buff? Do you like movies?
I like movies.
Are you caring about the Star Wars movie?
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm not a psycho fan, I guess, but I enjoy those.
All right, so let me ask you this. If Yoda and George Steinbrenner got into a pay-per-view steel cage match, who do you think comes out of there?
Oh, Yoda, definitely.
Against the Clock, Sterno's random thoughts and interaction with you, the listener. Under the Lights, weeknights beginning at 10 Eastern Time, only on MLB Radio.
Why is it when you put a peanut butter sandwich in front of your little one, he or she screams like a banshee because the crust isn't cut off? Or why do teenagers yell across the kitchen at each other like they were at opposite ends of the Grand Canyon? I'll tell you why. At a certain point, all that being told to be quiet in school, be quiet in the car, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, well, it's like a volcano that just needs to erupt. That's where Twins baseball comes in handy, where home runs from guys like Jock Jones get you to stand and scream and yell and nobody shushes you. Try that in a movie theater and you'll be out on your ear. So come down with the whole family and let it all out, because the family that screams longer together grows stronger together. Besides, this is your state, this is your team, and this is Twins territory.
Bottom of the ninth, time for the Seattle Mariners. Randy Wynn, Adrian Beltre, and Richie Sexson. The last chance for Seattle. As the pitch in there from Kirk Saarloos, who has been in there the whole way, giving up just the 4 hits, no runs. And he's got an 0-2 count on Randy Wynn. Seth Everett and Darryl Hamilton here from Safeco Field.
What a huge lift this would be if he can get a complete game here. I mean, because confidence goes a long way, especially with young pitchers, guys who's not used to being in the starting rotation. Go out and pitch a complete game. I don't care if it's a team that's struggling like the Mariners are at the plate. Still, a complete game is a complete game.
1-2 pitch. Bouncer towards second. Ellis fields the slow roller. And there's one down. So that'll bring up Beltre. He's got one of the 4 hits, a single to left. Also struck out and flied to left. First pitch in the dirt. Ball 1.
Funny thing about Beltre, last year when he was with the Dodgers, he had a problem with his front foot. Didn't seem like he could strive on the ball at all, and he hit a whole lot better because of it. He's a little healthier this year, but he seems to be struggling a little bit more at the plate.
Swung on and missed for strike 1. One ball and 1 strike. Sarlus deals, and he waves at a pitch outside of the zone. 1-2.
You get a lot of Dodger fans that are saying, we told you so. The fact that he had one great year, it's no use giving him the big bucks in L.A. He's got to do it again before he can get that kind of money.
Pitch outside, ball 2.
He'll be fine. I think next year will be a year where he gets a little comfortable here in the American League. He'll know some of the pitches a little bit better. He'll hit a whole lot better.
The 2-2 pitch. Line right back to Kirk Saarloos, who makes the catch. Things are going right for Kirk Saarloos.
It is. That was dangerously close to the head. But I tell you, when things are going well for you, guys, when they hit the ball in the nose, it has a tendency to find a glove. And got lucky, got him in a good position to where it was right at the glove. All he had to do was put it up, throw his head down, and pray it went in there.
So the final out for the Seattle Mariners comes in the person of a guy who struck out 3 times, in the person of Richie Sexson.
And that's not anything new for Richie Sexson. I mean, he's always been a guy who get a lot of home runs, but he'll strike out a whole lot.
Sexson lines that one foul, so the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
But again, when you start making that big money, you want to see things happen right away from his standpoint. You want to go out there and prove to the people that you're worth that kind of money. And you sometimes put added pressure on yourself, and sometimes it doesn't come through.
The 1-1 pitch misses inside, and it's ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Sexton's fouls that one back to the screen, and the Mariners are down to their final strike. And a line shot that is curving foul. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A little sad right now. We're getting down to 1 strike from the official Seth Everett tour. The Great Northwest again.
We'll be back here tomorrow over on MLB Radio for Staying Hot with Seth and Bone. Noon Pacific time, 3 Eastern. The 2-2 pitch. On the outside part of the plate, strike 3. What a job by Kirk Saarloos. His 126th pitch gives him the shutout performance, and Kirk Saarloos is a big winner.
He kept them off balance all day, throwing off-speed pitches, trying to hit the corners. I mean, today was one of those days where it was his day. He knew what he was doing on the mound. You've got a team in the Mariners that's been struggling all year long as far as trying to get hits in key situations. Pitched a great game, deserved to win today.
His second complete game shutout of his career. Last time it came in 2002 on July 25th against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Kirk Saarloos, the story. But from a bigger standpoint, you really have to look at that Seattle ball club and say that the offensive issues are going to plague this franchise.
They're going to plague them for a while, too, because you would think this team would be a whole lot better as far as getting to the plate and delivering some big runs. But they're struggling right now, and when you struggle like this, you try to go out there and do a little bit more. And when you try to do a little bit more, sometimes it doesn't work out. So it's sad that a team like this, a team with a lineup that they have, is struggling like they are. But they got to find a way to get out of it soon.
That'll just about do it for our coverage here at Safeco Field. The Mariners will head to San Diego to begin a 3-game weekend series against the Padres at Petco Park. The A's come back home for the Bay Bridge Series against the San Francisco Giants. And finally, for the Oakland A's, they come to Seattle, take 3 of 4, feeling pretty good about themselves, taking on a Giants club who has had equal struggles this season.
Well, this is a huge confidence builder coming up here and winning 3 out of 4. Now they get a chance to face the Giants, and really a better team than the Giants right now, because the Giants are struggling on all facets. They got a lot of young players in their lineup now. Got a lot of old players that are still out there trying to do what they can to help this team win. But it's a tremendous opportunity for the Oakland A's to come here and win 3 out of 4.
That'll do it for our coverage here at Safeco Field. Likes to thank our on-site engineer, Kevin Fallness, for helping us out here with the broadcast from Safeco, as well as everybody back at the studios of MLB TV. We'll be back on MLB Radio tomorrow at noon. For Darryl Hamilton, I'm Seth Everett. Once again, your final score, the A's defeat the Mariners 5-0, and this is MLB.TV.